Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic.
And a good Thursday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salchunas. It's the Midday Show. 97.5, The Fanatic, as we get a little bit closer to what is a huge game on Sunday when the Eagles take on the Cowboys in Dallas, a team that they haven't beaten in Dallas in a long time, and a team that's right behind you in the NFC East standings and the NFC and the number one seed. And, oh, by the way, the 49ers are right there. Yeah, all of a sudden this weekend's going to be a little bit more stressful. Like last weekend, even though they ended up getting obliterated and outclassed by the San Francisco 49ers, the weekend itself was filled with anticipation, was excitement, filled with anger and rage at everything that was said by the San Francisco 49ers players. The weekend before that against the Bills was more so about the tailgate scene, right? The Eagles fans and the Bills Mafia come together, and oh, by the way, let's try to get another win. The Chiefs game, kind of rematch of the Super Bowl, but at the same time, like, if you win in the regular season, it's not going to make you feel any better about the Super Bowl itself. But anyways, this is the first weekend, it feels like, in a long time. So it's probably the last time they played the Cowboys, actually, where you're going into the game with maybe some butterflies because you might not necessarily be feeling all that great coming off of the loss. And you also know how important this game is in terms of everything when it comes to standings, but also in terms of your mental health when it comes to the Eagles, right? Like when it comes to your blood pressure and the stress levels that you feel every single Sunday with this team, this is a pretty big one for all of us. So one of the things I want to get into today, with you on the phones, with Ray, with our contributors today. Of course, phone lines open at 610-632-0975. We're going to get into the Eagles-Cowboys game probably midway through into the show because I have an open-ended question about this game on Sunday. But what I want to start off with is trying to figure out who the Eagles are. Who are the Philadelphia Eagles? Okay? And this is what I mean. The Eagles were 10-1. We were talking juggernaut. Big Cat puts out his list every single week, his power rankings, like teams that stink. And, you know, he does all these weird things. And the top one's Juggernaut, and it's the Eagles, right? It was only the Eagles the last couple of weeks. And we talk about best team in football, not just record-wise, but with what we've seen across the rest of the league, least flawed team amongst all the flawed teams in the NFL, all this stuff. And then when the Eagles lose on Sunday, a lot of people start spiraling out of control. I thought one of the best tweets was from Bob Wankel. I read this during the show yesterday, and I'll read it again to start the show. Bob Wankel puts out the following. I've spent more time reading about the Eagles on this app this week than I have the previous 13 combined. Total chaos, absurd takes, overreactions everywhere. Nobody's even started talking about the Cowboys game yet. That was yesterday. Today's Thursday. I finally started hearing the morning show talk about the Eagles-Cowboys game, and I'll be honest, I have yet to. Other than this game's kind of scary, and this game means a lot. That's pretty much been the only stuff that we've talked about in terms of this upcoming matchup. We've still been talking so much about what happened this past Sunday and how that set off alarms for a lot of people. So I want to try to figure out who the Philadelphia Eagles are, and this is what I mean. Are the Eagles a team that is led by a franchise quarterback that is an MVP candidate every single year that you feel comfortable with? Remember, after the Eagles beat the Chiefs and after the Eagles beat the Bills, we had the conversation of, man, I don't care if they're trailing. If there's 2 minutes or less, if there's a minute and a half left, Jalen Hurts is going to drive the football downfield and tie it or win it. We had that conversation. A lot of people were in agreement. They lose to the 49ers, then we start having the conversation of Jalen Hurts can't read defenses. He had a bad game, right? He had a bad game. Totally fair to admit. He had a bad game. You can't all of a sudden question him as a quarterback in the NFL after one bad game, which is why we talked so much about David Carr yesterday and the nonsense that he spewed on NFL Network. But then again, there were some people as the show went on that didn't believe you should bench Jalen Hurts for Marcus Mariota, but we had callers yesterday that did believe some of the things that David Carr said about not being able to read a defense. So who is Jalen Hurts? The Philadelphia Eagles, what is the offensive identity? We talk about running the football more. We had signs outside of NovaCare yesterday as if it was the Super Bowl season from 2017-18. We had people outside with the run the ball signs. Are the Eagles still a run-first football team? Or are the Eagles a team that's built to throw the football downfield because you have A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith, when he's healthy, you have one of the best tight ends in the game, and you have an offensive line that gives Jalen Hurts enough time some weeks to make throws? Is the offensive line as good as we make them out to be? You guys have heard what I've said since last year. Perfect marriage. It's not me taking away anything from the offensive line. I think it's a perfect marriage. I think sometimes Jalen Hurts saves them, doesn't get sacked, and that's why the sack numbers look so little at times. I do also think that they protect him enough, and sometimes Jalen Hurts makes the mistake of getting out of the pocket too early. So I think they're both not perfect, but I think they have such a perfect marriage that's why it works. That's why they went 14-1 with Jalen Hurts as the starter last year in the regular season and are 10-2 this year. Like, you can't say the offensive line stinks or they're not as good as we make them out to be. They're still a top 5 offensive line. Jalen Hurts is still a top 5 quarterback. The weapons offensively are still, you can make the case, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are still the top duo in the NFL. When you're 10-2, but you lose one game, you can't all of a sudden just lose all these statuses. But maybe they're just not as good as we made them out to be. Like, were they exposed on Sunday? We talk about the defense. I had a conversation with my father on Tuesday. So my parents, they watch Cooper on Tuesdays. Usually just my mom, but my mom had a dentist appointment. So my dad had he came up with my mom. He works from home. He works remotely, so like he could do that. And so after I got home and they were about to leave, we started talking a little bit about the game because it was the first time we saw each other in person after the 49ers game. And he said something to me that was kind of eye-opening. And it all depends on how Howie Roseman hits in the draft. But he said this team is getting old and getting old fast. Right, you think about it. Offensively, Jason Kelce has been talking about retirement the last 3 years. Lane Johnson, there was thoughts that if they won the Super Bowl last year, he could have potentially have retired. And then you go on the defensive side. It's not just like Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. It's Darius Slay on the outside, who to me I still think is a professional cornerback in the NFL. I don't think he stinks. I don't think he's cooked. But last week he didn't look all that great. Now, Ray also made the point that a lot of people were probably too harsh on Darius Slay and James Bradbury because, let's face it, the middle of the field was what got attacked the most. Ray's brought up the numbers a few times where it was more than 2/3 of their yards, Brock Purdy's passing yards, the receiving yards for the players, came after the catch. And a lot of that, I would guess, like 80% of that was Nicholas Moreau in coverage. So we knew that the center of the field defensively was going to be a problem for this team, but they were able to mask it through the first 11 games. But did that one loss to the 49ers all of a sudden make you think, all right, that's an issue that's definitely going to hurt them in the long run, even though they won 10 of their 11 previous weeks? So I want to talk about the identity that is the Philadelphia Eagles. Who are the Philadelphia Eagles? To me, they're still a top team in the NFL. To me, yeah, the 49ers game kind of changes my opinion in terms of juggernaut a little bit. I was screaming here the last couple of weeks at the beginning of the show, they just don't lose. Well, they lost last week, and they lost in a big way. But I don't think the 49ers are now all of a sudden clear the best team in the NFL, best team in the NFC. There's no way. No other team will make it out of the NFC. It's just the 49ers season, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not there yet. It was a really bad game, but it was 3 games in 13 days, and the 49ers had 10 days rest. So did the Cowboys this Sunday. But who are the Philadelphia Eagles from an identity standpoint, from a skill level standpoint? What you were saying before the season started, what you were saying through the first 10 weeks of the season, 11 weeks of the season, are you still saying those same things today, or were you quick to flip? And I'm not saying flip in terms of you're no longer an Eagles fan. I'm saying in terms of flipping about what you believe this team actually is. Did Sunday's game expose the Eagles in certain areas where you're going, all right, that changes who this identity is, the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles? Who are the Philadelphia Eagles? If you're the coach, what would you want them to do? We know all about the run the ball signs, and clearly people feel that way. People talk about bringing more pressure defensively. Who are you blitzing? You got like a patchwork defense right now. So let's talk about it. It's an open-ended question. Who are the Philadelphia Eagles? 610-632-0975. We'll get to your calls coming up next. I'll get Ray's thoughts as well. And there's been an eerie silence. An eerie silence today. Do you know what that silence is, Ray? Good morning.
Morning. I think I have an idea.
It's quiet. And I think I have an idea too, but it's just astonishing how quickly the noise just goes away. It's like I went into an echo chamber. I can't hear anything anymore. I'll explain what that silence is next, right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A 50-piece for Embiid. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Wawa. Wawa has you covered with gift cards for everyone on your shopping list. Happy holidays from Wawa. Joel Embiid scored 50 points, leading the 76ers to a 131-126 win over the Wizards. For Embiid, he added 12 rebounds and 7 assists to his 50 points. The sixth 50-point game of his career. Kelly Oubre returned to the lineup and scored 8 of his 12 points in the fourth quarter. The win snaps a 2-game losing skid for the 76ers. They'll be back at home against the Hawks on Friday. Cowboys and Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Eagles looking to win at Dallas for the first time since 2017. Looking for the first sweep of Dallas since 2011. Tight end Dallas Goedert was a full participant in practice on Wednesday as he returns from a fractured forearm. Both Darius Slay and Julio Jones did not participate in practice on Wednesday. Flyers back in action tonight. They're in Arizona to take on the Coyotes. Puck drop is at 9. Catch the live call right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Tune in tonight at 6 for the debut of the Philly Hot Stove Show featuring the best show ever's Ricky Metallico. This update is also brought to you by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about the perfect holiday gifts, $25 and under, like matching family PJs, fragrance sets, toys, and more. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at a Macy's Backstage near you. Keep it locked here for all the latest news and information. I'm Ray Dunn, the home for the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic.
97.5 The Fanatic's Holiday Wheel is back. Starting Monday, we'll spin the Holiday Wheel 3 times each day. At 8 a.m. with the John Kincaid Show. At noon with Andrew Salchunas. And at 4 p.m. with the best show ever. Every wheel spinner automatically receives a Fanatic prize pack and will win an amazing prize. Like a Physique Barbecue fire pit from Landis Block and Concrete. Sixers tickets. Or a $100 Embers Smokehouse at Tap gift card. Visit the contest page at 975thefanatic.com now to enter. And for your chance to spin the wheel. Happy holidays from 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, it's Ricky Metallico to tell you about our friends at Schwartz Culleton. You've heard their ads and their iconic phone number for years, 1-800-JUSTICE. When you've been injured in a car accident, there is no greater resource than an experienced lawyer. The lawyers at Schwartz Culleton have well over 100 years combined experience prosecuting claims on behalf of individuals injured in car accidents. They have helped over 10,000 clients obtain the justice they deserve. The firm has become a bedrock of the Philadelphia community and the surrounding suburbs. From start to finish, they'll help you get your car repaired and ensure you have all the best doctors for your injuries. They have relationships with the top medical specialists and have a strong reputation with the insurance companies. There is no doubt you'll get justice if you call 1-800-JUSTICE. Again, that's 1-800-JUSTICE. Call 1-800-JUSTICE today.
The holidays are here, and if you're making a list and checking it twice, let the Preferred Pros make that list shorter by checking off your home improvement projects. Whether you need experts to help keep your home cozy warm, remove the junk and clutter, or help to keep your holiday gifts safe, we have just the pros for you.
Bachman's Roofing is your local award-winning roofer. Now's the time to inspect your roof and protect your number one asset. Visit bachmansroofing.com to schedule a consultation and learn about financing options.
Chris Services, experienced electrical contractor.
what happened on Sunday was alarming. And so it starts to make you think, all right, who is this team? Is this a team that can win just by shootouts, right? Well, the 49ers put up 42 points. The Eagles scored 19. The Eagles had 2 drives in the red zone to start the game that were great, that both amounted in field goals, which is not. So is the identity of the Eagles an offensive-heavy team, which that's what we talked about a lot before the season started, about how the offense could carry this game any single week because you have weapons like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and that offensive line, DeAndre Swift, and Jalen Hurts, of course. But maybe Jalen Hurts isn't the same quarterback as last year. We keep on talking about the health and whether or not he can move as much. I think it may be an orchestrated effort to try to keep him at bay, and then maybe come playoff time, you let him unleash because you may think that you're good enough to get to the playoffs without him playing the same way he played last year. And look, so far so good. You're 10-2. And then defensively, we talk about the pass rush and the front four and how they should be able to get home. They had 70 sacks last year. They're not doing that this year. They're not. So defenses, or offenses, are getting the ball out quick against this Eagles front. So what is a Sean Desai-led defense? Usually, to combat against these teams that are getting the ball out quick, you might want to get your guys up on the line of scrimmage. That's just not the way the Eagles do it. That's the organizational approach, organizational philosophy. So what is the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles through 12 weeks? Because that's the thing. It's through 12 weeks. Sunday's game alone should not provide you with an opinion on who the Eagles are. It may have changed your overall opinion, but that should not be set in stone. The Eagles losing 42-19 should not all of a sudden say for you that they're a fraudulent football team. I think that would be unfair after just 1 week, especially after going 10-1 the previous 11 games. By the way, before we get to the phones and before I get to Ray's thoughts, that silence that hear or don't hear. You know what that silence is, Ray?
What is it?
It's the Embiid haters. The Embiid haters are silent today after a 50 spot last night. It's ridiculous, dude. This guy is an absolute treasure. Just freaking enjoy it, man. Just enjoy the fact that he could go out there and put up 50. They'll go, oh, it was against the Wizards. He had to put up all 50 to get that win. Guy misses 2 games because of the illness. He comes back and drops 50 on that squad. The Embiid haters are silent today, which makes a good day for me.
First of all, I ain't no bitch.
Like, come on, man. I talk about disrespect all the time. It is disrespectful the way a lot of people talk about Joel Embiid. We did that topic, probably a month or 2 ago? That majority of Sixers fans, I believe, are disrespectful to Joel Embiid, or Philadelphia sports fans are disrespectful to Joel Embiid. Yeah, that's real. That disrespect is real. Guy drops another 50 spot last night. How about a little love for the big man? All right. Ray?
Man, I'm trying to be dumb there.
Who are the Philadelphia Eagles, Ray?
Their identity lies with their quarterback.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. And obviously in a quarterback-driven league, I don't think I'm spewing anything outside of what we know, but their identity is exactly who their quarterback is. They have taken on the Jalen Hurts version of all this. And now there are guys on this team that will put stuff out there, but overall, by and large, they've let themselves be a team that talks with their play. And this week, I think, very evident following the game where hey, we need to clean this up. We're not good enough. There are the, A.J. Browns that say, look what we're going to do on Sunday. But most of all, this team has pretty much owned up to the fact they lost, they got crushed, and they need to figure it out this Sunday. And I think that all comes from who their leader is. And on the field, what they are, they are a scrappy, resilient bunch that have found ways to win consistently. And I think that plays to the game of Jalen Hurts because
I'd say they're better than scrappy.
Yeah, but scrappy in as good as you can be while also being scrappy. Like they're a very talented group that does grit out wins. Like this is a group that's incredibly talented, but also they don't turn it off. Like there's games this season where they could have been not our night. We haven't figured it out. Where they come home on a short week to Buffalo and it's they're getting beaten pretty good in the first half. It's like they turn it up, they dial it up, they figure it out.
Which is why the other day we never ended up expanding on it. But my man Eric Reese, who used to work here at the station, he responded to something. I forget what the tweet was that I put out there, but he responded to, or it might have been the poll. It was like about the 49ers exposing the Eagles or whatever.
Right.
And he said, this team could easily be 7-5. instead of 10-2. I hear what you're saying because he's not the only person that thinks that, because they talk about the lucky wins, right? The lucky win against the Chiefs that Marquez Valdez-Scantling drops the pass. The lucky win that, I mean, I don't think it's luck that you drill a 60-yard field goal through the rain. I think that's just absolute talent by Jake Elliott, and then you drive down the field and score a touchdown because your defense was able to hold him to a field goal. Like the whole lucky win things, I know sometimes the ball bounces your way. But a guy dropping a pass, when you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith on your team, that just shows you that there is a disparity in terms of wide receiver talent between those two teams. I hate that notion of lucky wins. The fact of the matter is that they are 10-2. Has it been pretty? No, absolutely not. But to say they could easily be 7-5 right now, well, the answer is they're not. Because like you just said, they are a resilient group. They have had a lot of games this year where you're going, oh, man, this might be the game where they don't come back. And yet they do. Every single time except last week.
They find a way. They have found a way. And the games, the two losses they have right now are the two where, one, they didn't find a way against the Jets. It was most certainly the late mistake by Hurts that looms large, and the fact the offense didn't go, make anything happen there. And then early on in the 49ers game, the offense doesn't make anything happen. The defense entirely collapses. And you talk about deficiencies on a team. The Eagles, as we've said all week long, had their deficiencies most certainly exposed on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to identity, I think they've taken the identity of their quarterback, and they just find a way. And I think that's the biggest thing that we keep saying about Jalen Hurts. And whatever you think of this season, whether you are on the camp of, wow, he's taking a step back, or the camp of, this looks like a second season of a guy that's going to have a nice long career here and is going to be really good. And I think there's a lot closer between those two ideas. Most people are. They fall pretty close in that concept. They have found a way consistently, and it's because he is that guy that has led them to that point, has put them in the position to do it time and time again. And I think overall, the belief in him, like Kelsey talked about, most clutch player he's ever played with. Like,
we played that clip a few weeks ago.
The idea of who he is kind of where this team follows. And I think they've ultimately taken his personality and let that be the identity for the team, where we're going to find a way, we're going to work our way out of this situation. And if we don't, we're taking this as a learning process, we're moving forward. Like, and I think it's the rat poison type thing that Saban teams, like the reason they've been this good,
right.
Like you have to have a little bit of, I don't want to call it insanity, but almost insanity to sustain greatness in the NFL. In back-to-back seasons where you've had the best record in the NFL over the past 20-something weeks of play, you have to have a little bit of that, wired differently mentality. And I think that's what this team's identity is more than anything on the field.
And also, do things go their way sometimes? Yeah, sure. But, like, the loss of the 49ers is not because nothing went their way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they lost because they ran out of luck. The 49ers had an incredible game. The Eagles didn't capitalize on 2 red zone drives to start the game that could have put them up 10 or 14-0. And that may change the entirety of the game. The 49ers may have to go away from the run. And they can't just keep feeding it to Christian McCaffrey, who's one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the NFL. So I don't think there's a luck factor to any of this. So let's try to figure it out. 610-632-0975. Who are the Philadelphia Eagles? Let's go to Lewis in Cherry Hill. What's up, Lou?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. So I love this topic. I think that we're all raising our eyebrows a little bit after Sunday, but
absolutely.
At the same time,
and that's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think that we all need to take a step back, take a breath, and say this is still an elite team. The record over the last 2 years has shown that. It's just there are deficiencies over last year that we're starting to see, and we saw it in its prime on Sunday. This team still has an elite offensive line, but losing Sayamalu, I think, is one of the biggest things that has hurt this team over this season. And I think he is a far better lineman than Juergens is, and I think losing him hurts both the run game. It hurts Jalen Hurts' ability to take his time in the pocket. We could look at the same thing on the defensive side. That D line is still elite, but it's taken a step back in losing Hargrave.
Yeah, he lost Hargrave. And Jalen Carter's having a hell of a rookie season, but he's still a rookie, right? Whereas Javon Hargrave is a guy that got paid a lot of money because of the success he's had the last couple of years.
Exactly. And they don't have the depth that they had last year, too. We're not seeing that full 4-man rotation where, that second team coming in is still considered a top 10 line in the league. We're just not seeing that this year. But that said, when we look at the schedule moving forward, when we look at what we can do in the playoffs, because we're obviously going to the playoffs, I think this team is going to perform quite well. But let me ask you guys this. Do you think that it's time that we start seeing a little bit more of Julio Jones in that wide receiver 3 role? And do you believe that it's at this point we've seen enough of Kenny Gainwell to say, all right, it's time you take a seat and we bring Penny in?
I'm not the biggest Kenny Gainwell fan whatsoever, Lewis, and I appreciate the call. But there are things that they talk about. It's the stuff you don't see that he does well, which is pass protection. Oh, by the way, he does do a decent job catching the ball out of the backfield. I can't take that away from him. He catches the ball out of the backfield and is smart with it, gets out of bounds, in 2-minute drills, fights for first downs. Whereas DeAndre Swift, if he caught the ball out of the backfield, I would expect maybe a potential explosive play. But Kenneth Gainwell is kind of like that nuts and bolts guy. I don't know if you're going to all of a sudden start dressing Rashad Penny this deep into the season. He dressed the other day because Boston, 3 weeks ago? It was a game that Boston Scott missed, and they dressed him, and he took one snap. He carried the ball out at halftime. Remember that? I'm trying to remember.
Was it Dallas?
Might have been Dallas. He got a carry to start the second half.
I think it was pre-bye.
I think got 4 or 5 yards, and then got stuffed at the line of scrimmage the next play, and that was really it. I mean, I don't know what they see in Rashad Penny where he's not dressing, but clearly there's stuff that we don't see, and there's a reason why he is indeed not dressing. Julio Jones, look, I don't know what he's got left, man. This is not Atlanta Falcons Julio Jones. This is not even close to Atlanta Falcons Julio Jones, prime Julio Jones. So, you can factor him out there. You can get him involved, but just not wide receiver screens with Julio Jones, and it looks like an iceberg's running. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is red zone.
Here's the deal. And I know Lewis is trying to find answers, right? And I appreciated that call. He pointed out the areas that aren't as good as last year, right? And, I don't know if it's necessarily the pass rush isn't as good. I think it may also be how offenses are going against the Eagles' pass rush, getting the ball out quick. Some teams can do it better than others because of the players that they have. Look at the 49ers. Purdy wasn't taking 7-step drops. Getting the ball out quick to Deebo Samuel. They had pre-snap motion all the time to try to keep the defense off balance. Oh, there's nothing there? Here's Christian McCaffrey that I can dump it off to, right? So I don't think it's because the pass rush all of a sudden stinks or has lost a step. I think it's how offenses are now going against the Eagles' pass rush. But I love that he's trying to come up with answers. But if your answers through 12 weeks of the season are Rashad Penny and Julio Jones, well, then you're in trouble. The Eagles, I keep on saying this, the Eagles may have gotten lucky that Shaq Leonard was available. I don't know what he's got left in the tank. There's a reason why he is available. But they may have just gotten lucky that a team that, they are contending. I can't say that they're not. It's not a Zach Ertz situation where they may have just given a veteran, a bone to try to get a chance to win somewhere else before his career comes to an end. But, Shaq Leonard, it just wasn't working in Indianapolis. He wasn't the same player after a couple of surgeries. But they still may have gotten lucky to get him. I don't know if Julio Jones is changing the season for the Eagles or Rashad Penny. And what has changed the season? You're 10-2. I go back to this. We kind of talked about this yesterday, and I'll get to Dustin in a second. Because all of a sudden this has been a big Jalen Hurts week because he played poorly, played very bad on Sunday. This became a big Jalen Hurts, Brian Johnson week. And it got to the point where David Carr is saying nonsense that Jalen Hurts can't read a defense. Some might say he's not good at it at all. We have to have the conversation. Start Marcus Mariota. But this became a big Jalen Hurts week. And I made a point to say yesterday, Jalen Hurts doesn't stink by any means. And even though there might be an eye test where you're going, man, it's not the same as last year. I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. Out of the 12 games this year, you're 10-2. I would say Hurts in the offense has won 7 of those 10 games. The defense won 3 of them. Full team effort, maybe 1 or 2, but the offense played really well in those games. So 7 out of 10 wins, it was Jalen Hurts in the offense that won the games. They don't all of a sudden just stink. So I don't think all of a sudden dressing Rashad Penny and getting Julio Jones more involved is going to change things. Let's go to Dustin in the Northeast. What's up, Dustin?
Yo, Tunes. What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How you been?
I'm good. I'm good. I mean, obviously the loss on Sunday sucked, but I'm all right.
Hey, everybody needs to take a deep breath, man. Take a deep breath. We're 10-2. I still personally believe that we are the best team in the league. We got smacked in the mouth by a very good team.
Yes.
I don't like them. Don't like any of their players. I personally can't stand D.J. Samuel. But, dude, they came in our house and he punched us in the mouth. All right? We got to get over it. We got an even bigger game this week against the Cowboys. Like this, I understand how big of a game that was. I understand what they did to us on national TV. I get that. Look what we did to them last year. Say what you want. Tunis, what's one of the hardest things to do in the NFL?
Win football games.
What's even harder than just win a regular football game?
Blow out an opposing team, I guess.
Beating a good team.
Oh,
That's a good team. We beat them last year. If we would have beat them again now, we would have went into January up 2 games that I were in the last 2 years.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean, dude? I know it sounds crazy, and I know it's thinking outside the box, and it's definitely thinking glass half full. I believe in Jalen Hurts. I believe in this team. A spot. The problem with this team is their identity. Okay, Janice? Them not re-signing Gardner Johnson last year and signing him this year, that's a problem.
But it wasn't their fault. The agent was just they offered the same contract. It was just like reverse, right? Where he would have gotten more money on the back end than at front, and then there was the weird tweet by the agent trying to like drag the Eagles through the mud, and it wasn't as much of a flex as they thought it was. But I agree with you; they do miss him this year.
They don't have an identity on that defense. They don't have anybody that gets up and says, "We view this is what we're doing. We're going to come in and punch you in the face and be cocky about it."
Right.
They don't have a linebacker. Look what I know we couldn't do anything with T.J. Edwards, and it stinks because he wanted to go to Chicago for whatever reason. But dude,
I think he's from the area. So that's
I know it stinks. But wouldn't you rather try and play for a championship? Usually we're on the other end looking in, like, "Yo, come to Philadelphia."
I'll ask you if you could play for, the '80s Lakers or the process Sixers, and they said, "Hey, you're playing for your hometown team that you loved growing up," would you think about the Sixers a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna go get that blade.
By the way, real quick, I want you to express your love for the big man, please. I know you're Mr. Trade him this year.
No. You misinterpreted me last time. I love Joel Embiid. I think he's one of the best players in the NBA. My buddy was selling me and giving me some
that's right,
points, and I was thinking, but, dude, what Kelly Oubre, having him in this lineup, dude, that's going to be the difference maker come playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrible what happened to him. And thanks for the call, Dustin. Like, Kelly Oubre missing time, and obviously for a very unfortunate reason, getting hit by a car. He was a great piece of this team. I'm glad he came off the bench. That's what I've always wanted. They obviously had to start starting him because they traded James Harden and P.J. Tucker. And I know Harden never played for the Sixers this year, but that's 2 of your 5 starters that were now all of a sudden not playing. So you needed at a necessity to play Kelly Oubre in the starting lineup. I'm glad that he came off the bench. And look at that. 5 of 8 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3 at 12 points yesterday. But the big man. Don't gloss over the big man. 50 points. Also 13 boards and 7 assists. 3 assists shy of a triple-double after putting up 50. That's why it's silent. The Joel Embiid haters. Quiet today. Crickets. Nothing but crickets. All right, we'll continue the conversation. Coming up next. Who are the Philadelphia Eagles? What is the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles? A loss to the San Francisco 49ers, in my mind, should not make you completely change how you feel about the Eagles. It's fair to start sitting there and getting worried about who the team is. It's fair to be worried about this Sunday's game. Like, all that stuff is fair. You're starting to see some holes for the Eagles. And when they were winning, we ignored it because we were saying, well, and the bottom line is a win's a win in the NFL, right? Like, that was the conversation, which first 4 weeks of the season, I ignored the whole win is a win, right? I looked at all the flaws. But then they just kept on winning, so I shut my mouth. Like, shame on me for even questioning it. They're 10-1. And then they get spanked on Sunday. Then they get outclassed on Sunday. So it's okay if your mind has changed a little bit, but my mind is still Eagles, one of the top teams in the NFC, in the NFL, and should be one of the 2 finalists to get to the Super Bowl from the NFC. And then we'll talk about that rematch when that comes up. But what is the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles? Who are the Philadelphia Eagles? What are they good at? What are their weaknesses? What are their flaws? What's the thing that might hold them back? Or it's okay to be positive sometimes. What's the thing that will uplift them and get them back in the winning column this Sunday? It's so doom and gloom right now that it feels like all of a sudden the season's over, which it's not. Coming up next, we have the Vault at 11 o'clock. But before that, more of your calls, 610-632-0975, and update. And an update from David Carr, we talked a lot about yesterday. I'll remind you what he said 2 days ago, and it was brought back up on a show yesterday. And he said another completely ridiculous, idiotic, non-fact-based statement again. I'll explain what next right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, as the weather gets colder, it's snow.
Oh, no. Let's not get that twisted. This was strictly for content, okay? This was strictly for content. I was trying to do the show a favor.
So our conversation today is, what is the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? The good, the bad, the ugly. What could be the thing that holds the Eagles back? What is the Eagles that uplift them? Because we always have the negative conversation. The this is what's going to hold them back. Well, what's the good stuff for the Eagles that will uplift them and maybe overcome the bad for the Eagles? I'm trying to figure out who the Philadelphia Eagles are, because after the 10-1 start, we were all celebrating. Go Birds, EAGLES. They lose once to the 49ers and the sky's falling. Now, it wasn't just a loss. It was a beatdown. And so I understand why people are freaking out this week as we get set for a huge game on Sunday against the Cowboys. And it seems like people are still kind of down in the dumps right now. But let's try to figure out who the Philadelphia Eagles are. Now, Dua Lipa, correct?
Correct. Dua Lipa.
So she's a singer, right?
That would be correct.
I've seen her work on stage. There's a couple of GIFs that get posted. I'm a fan.
Yeah, she's pretty good. Pretty talented.
I don't really know her work.
I do.
Wise.
Yep.
Okay,
good.
you're a Lipasman. But Dua Lipa put out her phone number on social media yesterday.
That she did.
And Ray reached out.
Let's be clear. Again, this was strictly for show content. This was a professional contact.
But if she said, "Wow, you're cute. You want to get together?"
That would be creepy, because I don't know how she would have found a picture of me, because it was just a text.
She's Dua Lipa. She probably has like an FBI agent that works at her house.
Well, I just wanted to know how she feels about the Eagles. I reached out to the number, still awaiting an official response. Hey, Dua, big fan. Do you think the Eagles can bounce back from the big loss and beat Dallas this weekend? Feel free to give us a call and chime in with your thoughts at 610-632-0975.
Oh, you couldn't even give her the VIP line?
Well, listen, I want to start very casual, all right?
Okay. You could have given her a contest line. She could have won a pair of tickets to like see Journey and Def Leppard or something.
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe. Is that something we got coming up?
The Doobie Brothers? No, it's just something that I think we've been giving away for like 10 years now.
All right. Hey, listen. You could win. I can't. So
you didn't even give her that number. You gave her the call-in number. What if we have a full board? You know, what if she can't get through?
Well, then she could text me and we could talk about it.
Okay, all right.
You know, if she wants to reach out, just doing work of the producer here. I'm just trying to schedule interesting guests.
That's good work.
I think that'd be a good poll for us.
That would be a nice little poll. I would appreciate that.
Dua Lipa talking Dallas week.
Yes.
Coming up, middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
All right, so yesterday, and we'll get to the phones in a second. Yesterday, we reacted a lot to what David Carr had to say on the NFL Network. He talked about how Jalen Hurts can't read a defense, and then tried pivoting into Jalen Hurts isn't healthy, and so you should bench Jalen Hurts and play Marcus Mariota. He then, went to social media and then talked about it yesterday in response about how this was all health related. But in the original clip that we played a couple of times yesterday, he straight up said that Marcus Mariota is a better option than Jalen Hurts right now. Those were his words. So, he does you guys took this out of context. My man, you said that Marcus Mariota is a better option for the Eagles right now at quarterback. That's how the clip ended. That's stupid. It's ridiculous. So, of course, because of all the backlash that he got, they wanted to bring it back up on the show yesterday. And, he tried to expound on it and say stuff like, when he's healthy and can actually run, if there's something not there downfield, he has the ability to run. But, all these reasons, trying to back it up, right? Trying to walk back what he had to say, which was completely stupid. And then he once again comes with an uneducated approach. That all you got to do is simple research. It may have taken, 30 seconds to get to this. If you have good Wi-Fi, you go to the Eagles Pro Football Reference page, you go to the game logs from last year, and then you find the two games that Jalen Hurts did not start in. So maybe a minute, 2 minutes, that's all it needed. Take a listen to what David Carr had to say in response to all the heat that he got yesterday.
You don't have a healthy quarterback to run that style of offense, then you're not going to be as effective. So all I was saying yesterday, enter the Marcus Mariota craziness, right? Why play Marcus? I don't know. To give Jalen a chance to rest, to sit. You can't win with a backup quarterback. You can't win with Jake Browning. with Gardner Minshew. Gardner did it on this team, Philly, last season when Jalen sat, right? He's doing it right now in Indy. You could definitely do it with Marcus, who can run the football. You can give Marcus 25 carries on Sunday. 25. Go ahead, right? Go at it. Create one-on-ones on the outside. I think that would be fantastic. If that's the case, right, and Jalen has to sit, great. And if he's healthy, fully rested into the playoffs, they have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Wow, way to go out on a limb and say if Hurts is healthy, he may play better. Like probably any player in the NFL at this stage of the season. There's something that caught my ear when I was listening to it earlier. Gardner Minshew. And, you know, I'm all Minshew mania up. But he said, Gardner Minshew just did it last year.
That's not true.
The Eagles went 0-2 with Gardner Minshew as the starting quarterback. They did put up a lot of points in the first one against the Cowboys, and then he had really bad turnovers that led the Cowboys to come back and win. Then the second game against the Saints, he did absolutely nothing. That was probably one of the worst games we saw all year with the Philadelphia Eagles. So David Carr, once again, all it would have taken was 2 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes to educate yourself. 2 to 3 minutes to look up how did Gardner Minshew actually do with this Eagles offense last year. The offense that everybody said if you put any quarterback in it, they'd be just fine. They'd be just fine. That's why Jalen Hurts should have won MVP. Gardner Minshew went 0-2, David Carr. And if Marcus Mariota all of a sudden started playing, I remember Marcus Mariota in the preseason this year looking terrible. I remember Marcus Mariota looking terrible in, I don't know, his entire career, except maybe his second season. We talked about this yesterday with Matt Breen. Yeah, he hasn't been a good quarterback in 7 years. Enough with that nonsense. All right, let's go to the phones. Michael in Fort Lauderdale. Mike, you're on the Fanatic.
Hello.
How you doing, Michael?
All right. The one thing that I notice about the Eagles is they're a good team. It's just the inconsistency, the way they go hot and cold, and you never know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but that hot and cold has also led to a 10-2 record, right? And, you know, you can make the case that it's not sustainable to keep on playing that way, right? That we kind of talked about that last week before the 49ers game, whether or not that style of play is sustainable, where you can be basically blanked in the first half of a game and then in the second half have to, you know, bear down and come back and win, which they had been doing. But I don't think it's just the Eagles that have an issue of hot and cold. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs had 5 straight weeks where they didn't score a touchdown in the second half.
Okay. But most of the Eagle games, they've been struggling, and they have been able to turn it on. And the sustainability, like you're talking about, to do that not just through the season, but in and through the playoffs, I don't know. I just feel like even though we're 10-2 and a good team, I just feel like we're always like coming from behind.
Well, they came from behind in the Chiefs and Bills game. I mean, they won. They beat the Cowboys. They were ahead the whole time pretty much until the Cowboys started making that comeback at the end. So the Eagles were the front runners in that game. Obviously, there were a couple of weird ones with the Commanders this year, but the offense was still able to put up 30-plus points, so it wasn't an offensive issue those weeks. I'm guessing you mean more so the offense is gone cold at times.
Well, the offense, I mean the defense too. San Fran shredded.
Well, yeah, I mean when you put up 42
it's just,
points,
you never know which part of the team, offense or defense, and when they're going to hit that hot or cold streak.
Well, and that's true. We've talked about that a few times this year, Michael. And thank you so much for the call, man. I appreciate it. There's only been like 2 full-team effort wins, 3 full-team effort wins. The Rams, even though we've talked about this a lot this year, the first half they still couldn't score touchdowns in the red zone. But I would say full-team effort victory, offense and defense. The Dolphins game was a full-team effort victory. And then the Chiefs game, I would give a nod to a full-team effort game. Defense obviously had some huge turnovers. The offense was able to be down 17-7 in the first half and put up 14 points in the second half en route to a win. So I would say there was like 3 full-team efforts. So Michael's not wrong there. Look, I don't know. In terms of the defense, it could just be lack of personnel. I keep on going back to it. Out of the 10 wins for the Eagles this year, 7 of them were probably more offensive focused in terms of the win. The question goes back to the sustainability. And clearly you couldn't play that way against the 49ers, even though they were the front runners actually in the first quarter. They were completely beating up the 49ers. They just couldn't finish in the red zone. And that was, to me, one of the biggest problems from that game. All right, it's 11 o'clock. Time now for the vault.
You know, when we began opening this vault nearly 2 hours ago, we had no real idea what we'd find inside. As it turns out, we haven't found very much.
Vault presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers. That's where Philly gets engaged. Ray Dunn, what do we got today?
So we got a birthday to celebrate, but before we do that, there was a trade made in Major League Baseball in the last 24 hours.
Juan Soto to the Yankees.
Yeah, Juan Soto goes to the Yankees. And I don't really want to talk at all about Juan Soto or the Yankees, but I do want to talk about the franchise that he left.
Okay.
And I have the exact place in which this franchise fell from grace forever. I have the exact point, the exact sound that sent this San Diego Padres organization into turmoil.
There
and
needs
down
to
on
be a study
tailspin.
done on this because I think it's true.
This is the moment the Padres fell from grace forever.
Philly going down to yellow and brown. That's what's in. Slow down. Padres on the loose.
Slow down.
Let's
slow down.
go, Goose. That's what's in. Bryce gonna lose, and Manny's gonna cruise. Give Philly no slack and send them back. That's what's in.
No, it's 100% correct. You're right. That's when it went down. Songs are actually never a good idea. Bad songs, that is, by middle-aged men, parent dads. You know, they're never good. I remember predicting an Eagles playoff loss. It was the Saints game with Foles because you had that guy who thought he was cool with the Eagles all around, Eagles all around. And I remember the Eagles lost that game the moment that happened. There is something to it. There's got to be a science to it where sheer embarrassment or just like trying to look tough, trying to look hard doesn't work out for you. There's the New York Giants boat picture. Their record is insanely below 500 since the boat picture. Mm-hmm. The Washington Nationals, what was their tweet? It was something about like
beating Philadelphia is as hard as they say it is.
Yeah, beating Philadelphia is as hard as they said it is. And since then, the head-to-head record, the Phillies are they've tripled.
Right. Yeah.
In terms of win-loss compared to the Nationals. So sometimes there are moments, and there should be a study done on all this kind of stuff. But yeah, that was the moment the San Diego Padres just completely fell apart.
Yes, we will get to actually one of those moments coming up later in the vault.
Oh, okay.
And that's a tease for where we're headed because we're talking about the birthday of one T.O. Happy birthday, T.O. Now, I've got, of course, the classic moments you would expect. They're coming up a little bit later in the vault, but I want to start where it all started. And I got audio from the intro presser and a joke that T.O. did not understand right off the jump when he gets to his opening comments.
Times Terrell's.
You're up. I'm up?
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to thank God for the opportunity that the owner, Mr. Lurie, has given me. And obviously this whole city of Philadelphia. The fans have been great. I've been on my website for the last 2 to 3 months, and they've pretty much overloaded it, and I couldn't even get on it before I got up here today. But I just want to thank all the fans out there that have backed me 100% in the situation, and I'm so excited to be here, excited to play with D-Mac, and definitely a lot of the guys. I'm definitely feeling like I'm going to fit in right. Real nice here, especially I've gotten to know the coaching staff the last few Pro Bowls that I've been to, and I just feel like one of my reasons for choosing the Philadelphia Eagles is, I'm comfortable with the West Coast offense, and the touchdowns that I've had in the Pro Bowl, Donovan has thrown them to me, and that's just come with just two athletes going out there making plays and just kind of just chemistry in the making. And
just what could have happened? What could have happened? They go to the Super Bowl in the 1 year, in the one full season with T.O. And it just didn't work out after that, which was extremely disappointing. I like the time's yours.
Yeah, he didn't get it at all.
No, he did not at all.
He did not at all.
By the way, shame on me for not knowing this incredible bit of information. Do you know what his middle name is?
No.
I just went to T.O.'s Pro Football Reference page because I just wanted to see, think about it. This guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight seasons of over 1,000 yards. The only reason why that got snapped was because he only played 7 games for the Eagles in 2005, which, by the way, he had 763 yards in 7 games. and then bounced back with 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons with the Cowboys. Had 829 yards when he was cooked with the Bills. Had 983 yards when he was cooked with the Bengals.
That's right.
This guy's impressive. But his middle name, incredible. Terrell El Dorado Owens. Wow. That's a lead that's been buried for way too long.
Yes.
Because it's all T.O., 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 T.O. El Dorado, that's a freaking awesome middle name, man. I got, Vincent is more of a family passed down thing. Cooper's middle name was Vincent. My dad's middle name is Vincent. My dad's name was Vincent. His dad's name was Vincent. So that's more of a family thing.
That's why I'm Raymond.
But El Dorado, that's kind of freaking awesome, man.
That's awesome. Yeah. Makes me a little jealous with the whole Patrick thing going on.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
Works for me. One more from that intro presser, because you mentioned what could have been. Somebody wanted to ask about, the character and who they brought in. And here's T.O. addressing his character.
No, I don't think so. I think my character has definitely been an issue as far as, will I fit in? How will I mesh with, the coaches, my teammates? But we've talked and, he's explained the structure. I'm very aware of that and I understand that. And I think a lot of people get it misconstrued, from my passion on the field versus my personality off the field. And I can tell you it's basically night and day. I think these guys have gotten to know me, like I said, the last 2 or 3 years over in Hawaii. And that was more of an opportunity to get them get a feel for each other. And that's probably more of a reason why I'm here now.
Hashtag Team T.O. Over 5, even though McNabb's my childhood quarterback. Love the man. Team T.O. by far. But then again, it's not like T.O. was perfect either.
No. We've got examples of night and day.
Yeah?
So let's get you that first preseason snap.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see the first play if they don't try to get the football to Terrell Owens.
He looks his way. Fires it his way. There's Owens at the 45. Inside the 20. And on the first play at Philadelphia in an Eagle uniform, Terrell Owens takes it 81 yards right on the jersey number.
Just an incredible play. What a way to really just feed to the crowd. It's a preseason game. Incredible pass. I mean, just the excitement that surrounded that was unreal. And how about that Jim Nantz and Phil Simms duo?
For preseason.
Preseason. It's good work.
That's great stuff. So we got the good. Do you want me to take you to a driveway and take you to a nice little sit-up setup?
Yeah, sure.
Y'all want me to order y'all some pizza?
Yeah. That'd be great.
Let me get the pizza number first. Hold on. Okay.
It was a difference of opinion. I think the report is now that I was blowing my fans off. That's not the case.
So this is really about the fans, too. I mean, they want to see you back.
I love the fans. I love the fans. I got no problem with the fans. Heads up. They don't pay me to go in there and talk to everybody and be friendly to everybody. I go in there, they paid me to play, and they paid me to perform. I don't get mad at nobody.
There you go. Did you curse at Andy Reid?
Nope. If he wants to be a man about it and really, have me go in the air and really tell the people what happened, then I can.
Is the contract situation the problem here?
I got sent home to Wednesday for whatever reason. Like I said, I mean, it was just a difference of opinion. I was defending myself. So.
Hey, did anybody? How many is that? Damn, y'all making me lose count.
I mean, that's just iconic. Doing the sit-ups in the driveway, the workout in the driveway, and having reporters come out is iconic.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like,
iconic.
I don't know if that can be beat.
No, I don't think it can be beat, especially today. Like
having a press conference at your house.
Right, but especially at that time, like being able to control the narrative at that time.
Yeah.
Like, now you could just go to a club and maybe put on a sign that your general manager and president of basketball operations is a liar.
Yeah.
Like, that's chaotic, but this is peak chaos here.
Oh, it's incredible. And I absolutely love that. I kind of love that it was us, Philadelphia, that has this moment.
Yeah.
Even though it's a shame that it didn't end up working out, and it could have been incredible. But hey,
now,
awesome.
You mentioned guaranteed playoff losses. Maybe spending your bye week in Mexico with your superstar model of a girlfriend at the time.
That'll do it.
Not the move for Tony Romo, but T.O. was really upset that you came after his quarterback.
It's not about, Tony. You guys can point the finger at him. You can talk about the vacation. And if you do that, it's really unfair. It's really unfair. It's my team. It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair. We lost as a team. We lost as a team, man.
I mean, it's just incredible. It's theater. It's theater. T.O. All right. That's the vault.
Happy birthday.
Gold Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. And also, happy birthday to one, Papa Chunas. It's my dad's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Papa Chunas.
Happy birthday, Dad. Called him this morning on the way in. And, of course, also, pay respect and tribute at Pearl Harbor Day. So, obviously, we thank everybody who fought in World War II many, many years ago now. And, all of a sudden, it's been a long time since Pearl Harbor Day. 82 years, man.
Yeah.
Just crazy. But so, again, thank you to everybody who has served our country. Happy birthday, T.O., and happy birthday, Dad. 610-632-0975 is the number to climb in. We'll reset what we've been talking about so far. We've been talking about the Eagles' identity, who they are. We'll get into more of that coming up next right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. The holiday season, it's in full swing. Oh, boy, man. See, this is when life is freaking crazy for me. Dad's birthday's today. I got my birthday coming up. Christmas Eve, Christmas. One of my best friend's birthdays at the end of the year. Christy's birthday was on the 24th of November. Anniversary was on the 30th of November. My sister's birthday is January 7th. Sister-in-law's birthday, nephew's birthday in February. My brother-in-law's birthday is in February. Like, this is giddy up, man. It's time. I got to bear down here. Got a lot of birthdays, got a lot of holidays. I got all kinds of stuff. I forgot even to mention New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Just got a lot going on. So that means the holiday season's in full swing, and the showcases at Family Company Jewelers are stocked, and they're ready to go. Do yourself a favor and get to their showroom on Route 70 in Marlton, New Jersey, and get that special someone a gift that they will never forget. You planning to pop the question this year? Well, now's the perfect time to do it, right? The holiday season, especially with the snow. It's like snowing every single day. Think about the incredible photo you can get. You're dropping down on bended knee, and you got the snowflakes or the flurries, whatever you want to call it. It was the morning show debate today. Whatever you want to call it, the beautiful scenery of the snow in the background while you're proposing, that could be perfect. How about stuffing her stocking with a diamond engagement ring? Or if you just want a little extra action under the mistletoe, you can't go wrong with a pair of diamond stud earrings. They have the largest selection of diamonds in the area, not to mention the best prices around. Family Company Jewelers has been a friend of the station for many years, and they've been a friend of mine for many years. And I know that they're going to personally take great care of you and make sure that you walk out of their store with a gift that she'll be showing off all year long. I mean, that's what I've done multiple times now. Don't wait until the last minute, and don't waste your time anywhere else, okay? Get your holiday shopping done and check off your whole list with one stop to Family Company Jewelers, South Jersey's holiday diamond destination, Route 70 in Marlton, New Jersey, or online at familyjewelers.com.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A 50-piece for Embiid. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Boost Infinite. Boost Infinite's new wireless technology gives you 3 networks for the price of 1 and better service at a lower price. Visit boostinfinite.com. That's boostinfinite.com. Joel Embiid scored 50 points, leading the 76ers to a 131-126 win over the Wizards. For Embiid, he added 12 rebounds and 7 assists to his 50 points, the 6th 50-point performance of his career. Kelly Oubre returned to action and scored 8 of his 12 points in the fourth quarter, helping the Sixers secure the victory. The win snaps a 2-game losing skid for the 76ers. They'll be back at home
But what I wanted to get into to start the show, and we'll reset it all right now, is what is the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles? Who are the Philadelphia Eagles? And let me just kind of paint it, a picture again for you, as I did to start the show. The Philadelphia Eagles are a 10-2 football team, best team in the NFC, best team in the NFL record-wise, still the 1 seed. You go 4-1, Niners go 4-1. The rest of the way, Eagles, they win the 1 seed, right? They have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They have the bye in the first round of the playoffs. Clearly, they're a good football team to have a 10-2 record, okay? They also have a 10-2 record because they got absolutely obliterated on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers, to which a lot of people are saying that was the first real test or something, which I think is unfair and ridiculous because it started with the Dolphins game in which they won. They then beat the Commanders. Then they come back and they beat the Cowboys. So 3 straight wins there. They go into the bye. They come out of the bye. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bills. 5 straight wins against 4 very good football teams. I know the Bills are 500, but they're still a good football team. There's still a lot of talent on that team that you have to be worried about. I mentioned our buddy Eric, who said the Eagles could easily be 7-5. Well, the Bills, does that make them not talented? Because the Bills are 6-6. Bills are a very talented team. The Eagles have just been able to finish the job. They didn't choke away that game the way that the Bills choked that game away, especially in the second half. But what I'm trying to figure out is who the Philadelphia Eagles are. Because this has been a strange week. It's been a week where I feel like people are really down right now about the Eagles. People are down about Jalen Hurts this week. We got into the conversation based off of what David Carr said moronically about how Jalen Hurts should be benched for Marcus Mariota because of his health. Marcus Mariota is the better option right now. It was ridiculous. But there were some people that agreed that Hurts struggles seeing the field, seeing what the defense gives him. And even though he had a bad game on Sunday against the 49ers, you just look back in the season he's had, there's a reason why he's currently still right now, odds-wise, top 3 in MVP. He's having a very good season. Is it as good as last year? As crisp as last year? We used the word crisp yesterday. Is it as crisp as last year? No, it's not. But they're still finding ways to win. He's still finding ways to have good games. The Eagles' offensive line has been, for the first time, it seems like in a while, under some fire recently, even though they actually had a pretty damn good game against San Francisco, gave Jalen Hurts a lot of time. There's, I think, a group of people ignoring the Dallas Goedert injury. We had our man Black Gritty call in yesterday and say, well, once Goddard got down, you could just double-team A.J. Brown at all times. And so now with Dallas Goedert coming back on Sunday, that's going to be a huge jolt for the Eagles' offense. We can't just ignore the fact that he's been out the last couple of weeks, and yet they still won the majority of those games. And then the Eagles defensively, no, it's not pretty. Middle of the field's not pretty. Secondary starting to look a little tired, starting to look a little old. If that pass rush can get home, or if Sean Desai plays his corners up at times, I'm not saying the entire game, but at times, so that you can't keep on getting beat with plays underneath, maybe that helps out. Maybe Shaq Leonard helps out. So who are the Philadelphia Eagles? Climb in at 610-632-0975. What is the identity of the Eagles? What is the good? What is the bad? I keep on saying, what's the thing that's going to keep them from winning the Super Bowl? What's the thing that could get them to win the Super Bowl? Because it usually seems like we always have that negative conversation, that negative response. And I thought Ray gave a great answer. It all comes down to the quarterback and Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts ultimately is having a good season this year. And he also leads, by example. But I got an interesting tweet from Eagles Fan First. And it was very similar to what our man Dustin said earlier. Our man Dustin, who called in the second segment, talked about the identity defensively and what has changed since they've lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So Eagles Fan First checks in. I'm not sure exactly what their identity is, but after watching them get pushed around by San Francisco during pregame drills, and not one player wearing Eagles had the guts to put that crap to an end, I'm feeling that the identity of the team is, and in all caps, soft. I don't think this team's soft. I don't. It was strange that nobody really had anything to say when the Niners players, it took Nick Sirianni to start yelling at the opposing team's coaches. Now, was that a don't let them get to you kind of moment pregame? It was weird that the Eagles just kind of let it slide. I don't think that makes them soft.
I think you're just confused. Like, why are you over here?
Right.
Like, well, what are you trying to prove?
We're trying to do our drills here.
Yeah, like this is when you're going to win the football game right here. This is
they wanted to get in their heads early.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it worked.
And then remember, the first quarter, the Eagles actually had way more fight than the 49ers.
Right, like that's what I mean. I think it's one of those things. Like, all right, dude, we get it. Like, you're trying a little hard to get your message across here. I don't think it makes them soft.
No, I don't think so either. Now, are they missing something in terms of that, vocal leader? I mean, you think about it. Jalen Hurts is vocal in the locker room, right? We've seen the post-game videos. Like, he is vocal in the locker room. I don't know, he's very calm on the sidelines. Really, the only kind of outburst, and I use outbursts like in not just a negative way, also in a good way, has been A.J. Brown, Jason Kelsey, and that's really it.
I don't know. Like
Hassan Reddick I've seen him yelling at. I mean, Brandon Graham talks smack.
Right, that's what I mean. Like Brandon Graham, like at the end of the Bills game, is letting the Bills know they lost the game by kicking a field goal. Like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter that you won the toss too. That we're just gonna stop you and we're gonna go down and score and it's gonna be over. Like, I don't know. Like, I think we might be searching for things right now. I think we might be trying to look a little too deep at all this. They lost the game. They got crushed.
Lost the game.
They got crushed by
they're not
a
soft.
good football team. Like, I don't think it's soft. I don't think they're missing the swagger. Like, I don't know. Were we worried about the swagger of this team literally the week before when they come back and beat the Bills?
Ray, we weren't worried about anything before they lost to the 49ers. I think there are people that were hesitant to get super excited. I've talked about that for weeks, as you know.
Right. I mean, I think there were flaws.
There were flaws, but now all of a sudden Jalen Hurts can't read a defense.
Well, I mean, David Carr.
We had callers yesterday that agreed with him.
Yeah, and to those callers, I think I gave the piece. Yes, I forget who it was that said he's not a quarterback, he's a playmaker. Like, no, he's a quarterback.
He's a quarterback.
I don't even understand why we entertain that conversation. Like, to me, I don't understand why we entertain the thought of, I think there's a point to this. Nick Sirianni literally gave you 2 minutes of actual substantial information yesterday compared to his
about
usual
open receivers
dancing around, not giving you anything and trying to answer a question that wasn't asked. Like, it's sometimes we see a loss, we start grasping for things. Like, oh, this would have saved them. Like, I know people were outside the run the ball, there was the pressure them. I don't know if you saw Brock Purdy's numbers against the blitz. That also wasn't working.
Right.
You got crushed. You got beat soundly.
Got outclassed. You also
Sometimes
played your third game
answer.
in 13 days. They played their first game in 10. And your middle of the field was banged up because Zach Cunningham didn't play. By the way, they waived Christian Ellis. So,
yes.
I know Nick Sirianni was trying to pump him up before the game, saying, oh, man, what he does in practice is blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well.
And then they waived him. All right, so let's get back to the phones real quick. Oh, man, you got to let it go. You got to let it go. Do you have Sam Hinkie notifications?
Yeah.
Come
big
on,
time.
dude. You got to let it go, dude.
Yeah.
You have Sam Hinkie's Twitter notifications?
Well, he only comes out of the shell once in a while.
Oh, my God, dude. I can tell I have not thought about Sam Hinkie.
I only think about when he tweets.
Except for when we randomly bring him up on the air in the longest time.
You would be shocked the number of tweet notifications I have on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have zero.
Oh, I have a ton on.
I turn them on, like Woj and all, like during the
oh, no, I've got
trade deadline and all that kind of stuff.
I've got way too many on.
You have my noties?
Yeah, absolutely.
No way.
Yeah, I need to know what's going on.
That's a foxhole man right
Yeah,
there.
no, I need to know what's going on. There's people at the station, considerable amount that I'm tapped in on.
I must be a terrible social media guy then.
I can't. Well, no, I like information overload. I need to know what's going on at all times.
So should I just randomly tweet out "Hi Ray"?
Yeah,
and you'll just see.
I'll see it. I'll respond to it probably pretty quick. You ever notice how quickly the show tweets get a retweet?
That's true. That's good.
No, this is not like a coincidence. I'm not watching you tweet out, put your phone down, and go find it. No,
that's a foxhole move by you.
On my phone. Yeah,
that's a foxhole move by you. By the way, the Eagles are winning this weekend because the Get Up show, they made their prediction, all Cowboys. That's a good sign for the Eagles.
Yeah, but I'm not going to point out what they did last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep it quiet.
Yep.
Let's go to Chris in Allentown. What's up, Chris?
Yo, man, what's up, gentlemen? Listen,
How you doing?
listen. I love the positivity today. I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling great about this game coming up. And it's kind of talk about the identity. Listen, this past Sunday's game, I blame it on mental fatigue, physical fatigue. You don't miss that many tackles. Yes, 49ers are a good team. It is completely washed under the bridge for me. It's on the Cowboys. So the identity, I kind of changed this up as I was listening to you guys talk and stuff like that. I think they're like a veteran boxer. It's going to be a jab, a jab, a jab, a jab until we get to the fourth quarter, and it's haymaker, haymaker, haymaker. And that's kind of what this team's kind of been all year this year. I mean, you look at Hassan Reddick with the sacks in the fourth quarter, the important ones when they had to come, when you got sweat, all the important stuff in that last fourth quarter. So I kind of look at it more of a boxer's mentality in a way with that. Just set them up. And I mean, I hate the fact that his team goes down and doesn't start fast like we did last season. I blame that a little bit on offensive coordinator and the play selection
and the players.
Yeah, and the players. I think we need to run the ball more, and I think that's everything. Everybody says that. It's the truth, though. You gotta establish that run to be able to beat them deep. I just think we came out with a bad plan. I think the 49ers came out with a lot more energy. They had this game circle since February of last year.
Yes, they have.
The Cowboys think they're going to win at home. They're arrogant. They're cocky. Mike McCarthy's not going to be calling plays, and I'm not saying that's the say-all, end-all. But at the end of the day, I think this Eagles team knows that this game is the most important game of the season right now, and it's the only one this week, and they're going to go down to the Dallas Cowboys, and they're going to beat them in their house, and they're going to beat them badly.
I love that. That's like the most confident call we've had all week, Chris. I appreciate you're picking me up.
Can I get a chant?
Please, go for it.
E-A-G-L-E-S-E-O!
Thank you, Chris. That's the first chant we've gotten on the show all year. It's crazy. I mean, they're 10-2. So he thinks they're going down. They're gonna beat Dallas. It is a very important game this week. We're gonna get more into the Eagles Cowboys. I actually have some stuff that I want to get into coming up next in the next segment. But this game is huge. I'll go through it one more time. If the Eagles were to lose, okay, and the 49ers were to win, when obviously if you lose, the Cowboys win, and the Lions, who I believe will also win this weekend. The Lions, they have the Bears this weekend, who actually put up a good fight a couple weeks ago. But right now, if the Eagles were to lose this weekend, everything changes. Everything changes. Because the Eagles would fall to 10-3. The Niners, unless the Seahawks thing's real, right? Like we've talked about this a little bit. The 49ers are playing the Seahawks for the second time in 3 weeks. And maybe there's something that Seattle can do to get the win. I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath. It's just kind of a hope. But if the Eagles fall to 10-3, Niners climb to 10-3, Lions climb to 10-3 with a win this weekend. And if the Cowboys were to beat the Eagles, the Cowboys would be 10-3. So you would have a 4-way tie on top of the NFC with 10-3 records. And then just the biggest deals are the tiebreakers, which the Niners would be the 1 seed because they have the head-to-head matchup against the Eagles. The Eagles would still be above the Cowboys in the division because the Eagles have less NFC losses than the Cowboys do this year. And I think it's NFC first, right? Conference is the second tiebreaker. Pretty sure it's head-to-head. It's head-to-head, and then it's tiebreaker.
One of them has common opponents.
All right, here we go. I have it up right here. Hold on. 2 clubs. Head-to-head. Best win-loss tie percentage in division. Okay. Who the Eagles have not lost to anybody in the division. The Cowboys have only lost to the Eagles. So then that would be tied. Then the next one's common games. All right, so conference is the 4th one, common games, which we'd have to actually look up. So who are the Eagles Cowboys common opponents been this year?
One of them's going to be the Cardinals, which is going to be big for the Birds.
That's going to be huge, yeah.
So that will be a big one. I'm trying to think who else they went the same way with. They're going to have Seahawks.
San Fran, who they both lost to.
Seahawks becomes that much bigger because the Cowboys did beat the Seahawks.
Yeah, it's a good point. Cowboys beat the Cowboys beat the Jets.
Yes.
Eagles did not beat the Jets.
True.
Which hopefully that game doesn't come back to bite them in the rear end.
That would be a shame. But right now, if you're even 1-1 there with Jets Cardinals, take care of business against the Cardinals.
Then
So the Cardinals
then you're on top.
the Cardinals is their bad loss. Jets are a bad loss. They lost to the Jets. We can't lose to the Cardinals.
How about this? Just win on Sunday.
That'd be nice.
You win on
I
Sunday.
prefer that one.
And none of these factors are an issue, at least for another week, because the Eagles would be on top of the NFC by a whole game over San Francisco still, because the 49ers are still a game back behind the Eagles. But yeah, this is a very important game. Earlier this year, I said the first Cowboys game was the most important game of the season because it was going into the bye week. It was the beginning of that gauntlet. If you had lost that game, the Cowboys played the Giants the week the Eagles were on the bye, and then the Cowboys would have they did beat the Giants that week. That was the first time at the DeVito game, I'm pretty sure. The Cowboys completely obliterated the Giants, and so the Eagles would have come out of the bye following a loss and also now being in second place in the NFC East. So I still believe that game to date was the most important game of the season, more so than this 49ers game. There's more heat in this 49ers game, but in terms of importance, that Eagles-Cowboys game, the first one, still is the most important game. But now you can make the case that it's this one. Because if you drop this one, then everything starts to change in the conference. 610-632-0975, the number to climb in. So what we're talking about is we're trying to find out what the identity is of the Philadelphia Eagles. The good, the bad, the ugly. What's going to uplift them? What's the thing that could hold them back? Who is this football team? Because Jalen Hurts all of a sudden is a quarterback that nobody trusts, even though just last week we were literally having the conversation about if there's 2 minutes left in the game and they're down a score, he's going to drive down the field and score a touchdown for us and tie it or win it. I don't know how one game changes a lot of people's opinions drastically. It's fine to say, all right, maybe they're not the juggernaut we thought they are, but to go as drastic as, maybe, this guy's going to hold us back, this guy's going to hold us back. Like, they are still going to the NFC Championship game in my eyes. The question is, can they beat the 49ers in a rematch? And I don't think it's a blowout loss or a blowout win. So it's going to come down probably to the very end. So let's talk about the Eagles, the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles. Still to come on the show, we got Herm Edwards, the coach, coming up at 12:30. And coming up next, I'm going to open up a little bit more about this weekend's game, Eagles-Cowboys, because we've talked so much about the Eagles and the Niners. We're talking about the identity of the Eagles today. But now all of a sudden it's Thursday. Right? This week kicks off tonight with one of the worst games probably in the history of the NFL. And we'll talk about that at some point today, too. But this week kicks off tonight. So I want to talk more about Eagles-Cowboys, which is on Sunday. So think about this during the break. How are you feeling about Sunday? It is an extremely open-ended conversation. The Cowboys are a very good football team. So are the Eagles. Okay? The Eagles are all of a sudden not like this bad football team, this fraudulent football team. They're not the Minnesota Vikings of last year. The Cowboys are a very good football team. So are the Philadelphia Eagles. How are you feeling right now? Just be honest with me. I'm not going to come down on you if you're negative. I don't feel necessarily great, if I'm being completely honest with you. I don't think we're going to walk in there and take care of business. We'll see how I'm feeling on Sunday. Right now, I'm still kind of down the dumps. So how are you feeling? Open-ended question about this Sunday's game between the Eagles and Cowboys. And also, I have a test for a lot of you out there who think I'm the crazy one. Okay? I have a test for a lot of you on Sunday and the rest of this week. 610-632-0975. Manager Sal Tunis, the Midday Show right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers Stay Hot on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get on all the action. The app's super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. All kinds of bets, right? Like, I love futures bets as well. Division futures bets at this point of the season, you could still get a couple where the odds are pretty good because there are divisions that are still up for grabs. Like, I'm sure, the Cowboys, it's not like plus 1,000 at this point because they're right behind the Eagles. But you could parlay those. That's something I did before the season started. It's something I do before every single year. The only team I really need to step up is the New Orleans Saints. But you can do all those kinds of bets on your FanDuel Sportsbook app. Just visit FanDuel.com/Fanatic. That's FanDuel.com/Fanatic. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. You got to be 21 plus and present in PA. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame moneyline wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 11:48, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. Coach Herman Edwards coming up at 12:30. We're going to get into football guy or not football guy later on in the show as well. But you have your list of notifications. So if you're just tuning in, Ray immediately posted a tweet from Sam Hinkie because you have Sam Hinkie's notifications on. Well, yeah, because he retweeted a tweet about Joel Embiid, and you screen grabbed it and posted it immediately.
Yes.
And I thought it was weird that you have the notifications for Sam Hinkie.
Correct.
And I thought it was like something that you just can't let go, but apparently you have a long list.
A long list.
How many?
Now you make me out 5, 10.
Go ahead and count it out.
15. I would say almost 30 now that we've gone through with the numbers.
Almost 30 people you've notifications.
Accounts.
Now, here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
You already don't you posted a screenshot yesterday, and somebody ripped you for having 98 missed text messages.
Correct. Yeah.
So you already have the missed text
Which also
messages.
98's a low number for me. So
okay, well then if that's an issue, then maybe you should focus on that and take away some of the notifications. Like you can take away the Sam Hinkie notifications. You're fine.
I could.
He's not going to be in the NBA ever again.
That's more the point. Where am I going to get my venture capital retweet every few months from? Huh? When am I gonna find out what he's up to?
Do you care?
A little bit, yeah. Love to know.
Look, if Sam Hinkie wanted to come on the show today, I would welcome him with open arms. That'd
Absolutely.
be freaking awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
But I will tell you right now, I would ask him what he's been up to only because he's on the air. I don't necessarily care about what he's been up to.
See the difference between you and I. I always care what people are up to.
All right, so what's the craziest notification you have? Are they all sports related and work related?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so you don't have Dua Lipa's on.
No, I don't have Dua Lipa's. No,
Okay.
That was just I had randomly run into that tweet. I actually don't follow Dua Lipa.
Okay.
But the weirdest one, I guess like MLB steals. You know.
Hold on a second. You get notifications when somebody steals.
Well, there's a bot that tweets out every time someone steals. I'm a pretty serious fantasy baseball player.
Oh my
this is
God,
big stuff.
dude.
Yeah, I mean.
So do you pump your fist if one of your players
gets easily? Yeah, I get the notification. I know he's not our guy right now because of what his team did to us in the NLCS. But Corbin Carroll last season, every time he stole a base, that was a little fist bump for me.
So I can't do fantasy baseball. It's
fine.
I'm a fantasy football guy, and that's it.
I'm built different.
I'm on the ledge of that one too. But the fantasy baseball
every day, man.
Ridiculous.
Line me up. Sign me up. Keep my summer going.
God. All right.
Yeah, I got MLB home run on too, but I felt like that was a little more normal. You know,
a little more normal, but like do you get a kick when it's like a not home run hitter that it pops up?
Oh, it's hilarious. Mind you, when there were still pitchers hitting, that was the best notification that could possibly hit. That a pitcher hit a home run.
Yes,
that was a jolt of joy.
I don't do any of this.
Also, Scorigami, probably another one that people.
Scorigami, that's pretty cool, but like I wouldn't do notifications for it.
Yeah, but I do. I've got it. I mean, it's a long list.
I rely on everybody else because people retweet everything.
Yeah, but see,
I'm not a good Twitter user.
Yeah, I mean, you're just behind. This is what it is.
I don't think I'm catching up.
No, we knew that for good. We knew that for good.
I don't think I'm catching up anytime soon.
But yeah, some good names on here. But yeah, those are probably the 3 weirdest.
Okay. Well, good for you. I'm glad you got your notifications on there. All right, real quick before I get into this Eagles-Cowboys thing, I just want to bring up this story. Jimmy Kempski in the Philly Voice put out a story. Was this yesterday? All right, came out late last night. The run the ball story. Because there was the guys that were outside of NovaCare with the run the ball signs. And I found it odd how many local media members were almost like, not nasty, right? Like it's, come on, it's not such a PC world. But like people were like adamant to shoot down anybody that wanted the run the ball thing, right? I think it's funny. I love how passionate Philadelphia Eagles fans. When we talked about it yesterday, I said, I love you, Philadelphia. And it's just because we care enough where 2 guys out of their day are going to go down NovaCare early in the morning and put up the NovaCare, the run the ball signs. And I love that Nick Sirianni brought him out a cup of coffee, or maybe he didn't, but somebody brought him out cups of coffee. They talked about during the press conference yesterday. I love that. So Jimmy Kempski put out a story in the Philly Voice. PSA, if the Eagles don't run the ball a lot in a game they lose, it doesn't automatically mean that they lost because they didn't run the ball a lot. That's the title of the story, which I like that. It's nice. So here's the opening couple paragraphs. Before we get started here, I would like to thank you, Philadelphia Eagles fans, for being you. You care immensely, which creates a need for local media outlets to cover the team closely. I've benefited from that need for the past 10-plus years while working as an Eagles beat writer here at the Philly Voice and other places. Truly, I am grateful, and everything I say henceforth is out of love. With that disclaimer out of the way, for the love of all things holy, can we stop with the run-the-ball crap after almost every loss? The usually excellent quarterback misses a bunch of open throws that he usually hits? Question mark. Should have run the ball. Defense can't tackle anyone? Question mark. Run the ball. Other teams scored touchdowns on 6 straight possessions? Question mark. Run the ball. He's not wrong. I do think there is a middle ground. I almost think sometimes maybe just traditional runs are better than the Reed's offense runs, which I get it. It worked all last year. Sirianni was it Sirianni that was asked about it yesterday? About why they're not doing it as much or why it hasn't worked as much. And he straight up said, defenses are attacking us differently. Goes back to what I said about the Bills. They just went right after Hurts. They didn't care. Right? And who was it? Was it Bosa? Bosa talked about it after the game. It wasn't post-game, but it was like, he had like a Monday or Tuesday media availability. Did you see this?
Nope.
They basically asked, like, what was the success? And they're like, yeah, we made Hurts have to try to beat us. Like us as the defensive front. They just went after him. They weren't respecting the potential handoff to DeAndre Swift because they have great linebackers, which helps. Right? Like they have guys in that second level of the defense that can run down a DeAndre Swift, which is why you saw barely any yards on the ground for those guys. That's going to get out there more, that teams are just going to attack Jalen Hurts, and eventually you might have to get rid of it. Maybe not altogether, but if your ground game's not working, why would you keep on doing it? They're not respecting it. Right?
Right. If your ground game's not working, why would you keep doing it?
Why would you keep handing the football off? I get where you're getting at with this, but I'm talking about the zone read.
Yeah, no, I got you.
If they're just going to go after Hurts, unless they have to change because Swift is beating everybody, why would you keep on doing it? It's just another second. You don't have much time in the pocket as it is, right? Just another second where Hurts has to think about what's going on. When they just kind of unleashed him and let him be him against the Bills in the second half, he actually played very good quarterback play. Credit to Brian Johnson for making that adjustment, but, took it till halftime again. Just like, let Jalen play quarterback. I kind of want to see.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let him play quarterback. And, maybe I would say you could take some of the option stuff, especially with, just the way he's running. He's not moving as well as he did last season.
No.
So I would be fine. They just let him play quarterback. And in that case, they let him play quarterback with, again, similar amount of run pass.
Oh, and also with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert now coming back.
Right. Yeah. Like, again,
play quarterback.
This isn't like you have, Barry Sanders back there and James Thrash out at wide receiver.
Right.
I think we can, and that's my
They may not
problem.
even respect Swift and Gainwell all that much. I mean, you hear how we talk about Gainwell in a given week. If DeAndre Swift's not having a great game, our defense is really respecting the Eagles' rushing attack.
How'd the game start? 4 carries for 8 yards, 2 carries for what, 7? Boston's got 1 for whatever it was, and then a couple of Hurts scrambled. Like, they didn't have a reason to respect it after the beginning. They could get after Hurts. And, oh, by the way, you didn't put up enough points early. That's why, coming back to this week, it's a weird week to bang the drum on run the ball for me. It's just a weird week for us to be banging that drum.
Well, so Kemsky continues in the story. Oh, and hey, guess what? The Eagles usually run the ball a lot. Only 4 of the teams in the NFL, the Ravens, Niners, Falcons, and Bears, run the ball in a higher percentage of their plays than the Eagles. And by the way, 2 of those teams are trash. Falcons and Bears. The Ravens, a little bit different because it's Lamar. It's like Hurts. It's, running. The quarterback runs the football so many times as well as the running backs. I'm not saying that, Jalen Hurts is just a running quarterback. I'm just saying that's like 6 or 7 of your plays is running the football with the quarterback. They've also run the ball with a high frequency in recent games. Since they began the gauntlet portion of their schedule, the Eagles have had more run plays than pass plays in every game, other than the 49ers game. Cowboys, 33 runs to 23 passes. Chiefs, 27 runs to 22 passes. Bills, in a come-from-behind effort, 32 runs to 31 passes. So in those 3 games combined, 92 runs to 76 passes. So they have been running the ball a lot.
Yeah.
My issue is maybe necessarily the style of running, and it goes back to the zone read.
Which is fine. I think you could take issue with the style of running, and you could take issue with certain, situationally where decisions have been made. But from the wide lens, it's not the week to tap the sign. I understand, it's cool. I think Jimmy laid it out perfectly in the first couple paragraphs there with the appreciate the passion, but maybe not the tree to bark up right now. Maybe not the place to go. Which is just interesting that this is where we get to at the end of this week. Like, I can't even put it in my top 5 of problems.
It's frustration. It's uncertainty with this team. I think it's a big thing, too, is people are uncertain with this team. It goes back to what we've been saying. Like, nobody wanted to really say anything. They didn't want to admit that they might not have been totally confident because they were 10-1. Then they get blown out the way they did, and now all of a sudden you're starting to see people maybe panic a little bit and go as far as saying run the ball more.
I guess if we just default into default panic mode and it's like, oh, well, this team's not real, they must need to run the ball more. If that's like your default for solving all the issues, I guess it's just not the way I would go about addressing what happened here. Like, quarterback didn't play a great game. Your defense gave up 6 straight touchdown drives. You didn't run the ball particularly well to begin the game.
And then you went away from it, and then you were down by a lot of points, and you had to throw the football.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Is that the place where I want to start? Probably not. The place I'd want to start is in a different backfield. It'd be the defensive backfield.
I hope they run the football 3 straight plays to start the game.
I'm rooting for the bleep you start. And you know what? I'll own it if they go 3 straight
play action pass. We do the Eagles in the vault. You had the McNabb to T.O.
Yeah.
Deep shot, 80 yards, 75 yards because now you start at 25.
Line up in the eye. In the eye. Make them think you're doing it.
That'd be awesome. All right. So speaking of this Sunday's game. All right. So I mentioned it going to the break, but I now want to open it up on the phones at 610-632-0975. How are we feeling going into this game? I will be completely honest with you, as I always am. I'm always honest. I'm not feeling necessarily great. I'm not. I'm not giving win-loss prediction right now. I'm just talking about how the Eagles looked this past weekend was enough for me to get brought down a little bit. Also, this is a week where Dallas is, we talk about the desperate team, right? Dallas isn't desperate in this situation, but if they win, they're now tied with you record-wise for the top spot in the NFC East and also the NFC. Tiebreakers and all that kind of nonsense. I get it. But in terms of overall record, the Cowboys are tied for you for the NFC East and the 1 seed in the NFC, as well as the 49ers and the Detroit Lions if those 2 teams both win. The Cowboys are a very good football team. The Eagles' defense is in shambles right now. The Cowboys are also coming off of 10 days rest, just like the 49ers were. The Eagles are not. The Eagles' offense has been sputtering at times the last couple of weeks. Obviously, last week you only put up 19 points. The first 2 drives looked great, but you only finished with 2 field goals. The week before that, the first half, you did nothing against the Bills. The week before that, you did nothing in the first half against the Chiefs. Now you got those wins. The Cowboys might put up more points than 17 in the first half. That's just kind of how the offense has been going, especially on their home field. So open-ended question, how are you feeling about Sunday's game? Because right now I'm not totally feeling great, Ray. And I know you're extremely worried. You're more worried than I am.
Yes.
I mean, Monday, we talked so much Eagles-Niners, but Monday I could tell that you were worried about Sunday's game.
Quite concerned.
Which then also made you worry about the Seattle game because you don't want to have to try to win in Seattle after dropping 2 straight.
Yes. This concern for Sunday is so much different than the concern for the following week that it's, not even close. Like for the Seattle game, you've heard me, if you've listened to me for half a second, with the whole idea of going to Seattle and not worried more about the team, but about the spot.
About the spot, yeah.
Yeah. Here, this is like the pressure's been turned up, dialed up on you to the point of, I don't think there's more pressure on you than the Cowboys because there's more for the Cowboys to prove in this game than there is for you to prove in this game. But this is a Cowboys team that hasn't lost at home in, 14 games or something like that. And,
oh, yeah.
Hey, on the other side, Jalen Hurts hadn't lost to a team above 500 in 14 games. So, streaks are built to be broken.
Right.
But this is a Cowboys team that's playing really good football right now. I came into the season more concerned about them than I came in about the 49ers, and 49ers just did that to you. So now you go down to their place. I'm reading it, and this is going to be something you hear in the update tomorrow. You've heard it today. You heard it yesterday. They haven't swept the Cowboys in a season series since 2011.
Right.
I'll spare you from the information of where I was in 2011, but it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
It's been a minute.
And, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, those are your top three finalists right now in terms of odds for MVP. Dak Prescott's having a hell of a season. He is. CeeDee Lamb's having a hell of a season. They found something in Jake Ferguson at tight end. They just always, they pump out these tight ends nonstop, right, in Dallas. And so this is also a game, revenge, after the Eagles won earlier this year. Like you mentioned, it's in Dallas. The season series sweep that doesn't happen, hasn't happened for 12 years.
10 days rest.
10 days rest for Dallas. Like there's a lot.
Haven't been on the road in a month because they played Thanksgiving, played Seattle at home, and now they're at home again.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of factors that favor the Cowboys. And by the way, speaking of favor, the Cowboys are 3.5-point favorites in this game against the Eagles. The Eagles at plus 3.5 is actually minus 122. So more than money coming in on the Eagles so far. But, that's just lines. When it comes to the final score, that's a big deal. So I'll be honest, not feeling totally great. We had our caller, Chris from Allentown, who was all fired up. We're going to go in there, we're going to beat Dallas. And all. I love that. I love that. Which leads me to my next thing that I want to bring up. For all you Eagles-Cowboys, it's the number one rivalry. That rivalry will never die. It's the team I hate the most. I need to hear from you over the next hour and 55 minutes of this show and the 4 hours tomorrow. Because I was the crazy one who said Eagles-Cowboys doesn't mean as much as it used to. Okay? It doesn't. Because the Cowboys have been irrelevant. But when it comes to this game on Sunday, this game means a lot. Now, it means a lot whether it was Eagles-Commanders and the Commanders were one game behind you. Eagles-Giants, one game behind you. Eagles-Niners just last week. Like, what if that was this week and the Niners were one game behind you? It's because of the records it means more. But all you Eagles-Cowboys, I hate the Cowboys. The team I hate the most. It's the biggest rivalry in sports, biggest rivalry in Philadelphia. I said last week, Eagles-Niners, biggest rivalry in Philadelphia at this current moment. For all the Cowboys haters out there. Not Cowboys haters. For all the people that, this is the number one. I need to hear from you. Because this is a freaking monsters game on Sunday. 610-632-0975. Let's go to Rich and Brick. Rich, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you?
What's up, Rich?
I got to tell you, relax. We'll be fine Sunday. I'm not nervous about the game at all this Sunday.
What makes you say that? I like that. What makes you say that?
We get Goddard back, and it's going to open up more things and blocking and everything else.
Okay.
And also, I look at it this way. The Cowboys had 10 days of rest, and they could come out flat out of that 10 days. Because it happens to a lot of teams when they have that 10-day grace period. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Niners came out flat, 6-0 in the first quarter, then put up 42 points.
Yeah, true. But I'm just not. I mean, it's a big rivalry between us and the Cowboys. It always has been, and that's the most team I hate the most is Dallas. Right now. I always hate them because being an Eagle fan, I mean, you can't like the Cowboys for anything.
No, of course not.
But I just feel that they're going to win this weekend and come up, fire it up after the performance on Sunday. But I do have something to tell you. Did you guys see the clipping of Stephen A. Smith on Tuesday where they were comparing Jalen Hurts and Zach Prescott, and he was saying he would take Jalen Hurts over Prescott?
Stephen A. Smith said he would take Jalen Hurts over Prescott?
Yeah, he said that.
Okay.
I just think, and then he downgraded us on Monday about, how the whole team's, I just don't understand him.
Oh, yeah, he has his top 5 list. Thanks for the call, Rich. That got sent to me a bunch of times. And I think the Eagles are fourth after the loss. I mean, the power rankings, they fell to third, right? Whatever. Look, I would still take Hurts over Prescott because I know Hurts finishes the job. Prescott's having a hell of a season this year. They put up 40 points against the Giants, who stink. They put up 30 points against the Jets. It's very good defense in week 2. They lost to the Cardinals. They put up 38 points against the Patriots, who may be one of the worst teams in football. They lost to the 49ers, by the way, 42-10. We're talking about so much about the 42-19 loss. The Cowboys lost 42-10. They beat the Chargers, only put up 20 points. Beat the Rams, lost to the Eagles, beat the Giants, beat the Panthers, beat the Commanders, beat the Seahawks. They haven't had really a grueling schedule this year in terms of opponents.
Right. I mean,
the Eagles are playing a first-place schedule.
The conversation out of Dallas following the Seattle game was that the way they held on late and the way they won that game late was the proof that Prescott's taking the step to close out games. Like that's the conversation point was look, they beat a good team and now they dropped Seattle to 500, which is incredibly ironic because now they can't say they beat a team with a winning record because But really, I don't want to prime the conversation for if they lose, but if they lose nationally, if you're bothered right now today by Stephen A. talking about
it's gonna be all Cowboys.
Well, no, Prescott's MVP.
Yeah,
they beat the Eagles. Prescott's MVP. Just point blank. I'm not saying that would be my vote. I'm not saying that's necessarily what I believe. The prevailing narrative will be that, and that's where it'll go for the rest of the season. I hate to break it to everyone, but bracing yourself for that reality.
Well, it'd be or Purdy. But more so probably Prescott.
Yeah, recency bias.
Yeah,
they put up,
thing.
yeah.
By the way, here are the Cowboys' total points at home this year, which is also kind of freaking me out a little bit. 30 at home against the Jets, 38 against the Patriots, 43 against the Rams, 49 against the Giants, 45 against the Commanders, 41 against the Seahawks. They've scored at least 40 points in 3 of their home games this year. They have not scored less than 30 in any of their home games this year. Eagles offense is going to have to put up points this weekend. Can they do it? Of course they can. Will they do it? We'll find out. How are you feeling about this Eagles game? It's an open-ended question. Because this whole week's been doom and gloom. I'm not necessarily feeling great, but I'm hoping there's a lot of Eagles fans that are like, screw the Cowboys. Because that's the other thing. All the hate toward the Cowboys that we have in our hearts, right? All the hate, the rivalry. Today's the start where, I need to start hearing from you a little bit. Because I'm the crazy one who thinks it's not as big as it used to be. All right? Let's talk about it. 610-632-0975. We have Herm Edwards coming up next, but your calls before that, all right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Embiid drops 50. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by the BetParks app. When you open the BetParks app, you're in the zone. It's another chance.
12:20. 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. 12 o'clock hour. Brought to us by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months and a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. I'm chuckling a little bit because I almost made a big mistake. I almost made a mistake that one Pat Egan made a while back.
Uh-oh.
So you just asked me for Herm's number. We have Coach Herm Edwards coming up at 12:30.
Yes.
Talk Eagles, Cowboys, react to the Eagles' loss to the 49ers. And so I shared the contact with you, but almost shared it with Herm Edwards.
Ooh.
Which Pat Egan did that before. I forget who it was. Maybe he'll remember, but I asked Pat for a number because we share the contacts around here, right? And Pat accidentally shared the contact to the person whose contact I was asking for. To which the guy responded like, "Why the hell are you sharing my number?" Like it was like,
yeah,
guy wasn't really happy about it.
No,
because he clearly knew what Pat was trying to do, and then Pat had to be like, "Listen, I'm giving it to somebody else who works at the station. Like, I'm not giving it to like a buddy of mine." And that was basically how the conversation. I didn't even text the guy.
At that point, yeah.
At that point, it wasn't even worth it.
It's kind of over at that point.
So I forget who it was. I can ask Pat if he remembers. But yeah, so I almost did that. But I'm glad I sent it to you and not Herm Edwards himself, because that would be
now he knows
problematic.
The whole idea of what happened just happened. So
that's fine.
I'm sorry. I'll delete your number as soon as we're done with it. Don't worry.
You don't have to do that at all. All right. So let's head back to the phones. Again, Herm Edwards coming up at 12:30. Latest question going into this game. How you feeling? How are you feeling going to the Eagles-Cowboys? I don't feel great. I don't. Now, I will tell you, I'll revisit what we talked about earlier in this week. I don't think they go 0-2 in the next two games. I think they finish the season 4-1. I just don't know which game it is that they're losing. If they beat the Cowboys, then maybe they could go 5-0, but I would maybe think letdown spot going out to Seattle after this big win against the Cowboys. But then again, the Eagles have been immune to letdown spots over the last 2 years. They have been. It's not like the Niners was a letdown game. No, it was just a straight-up beatdown by another team that's very, very good. So I just don't know if this is the one they win. And then you're going to have to go into Seattle riding a 2-game losing streak and hoping to, end that with a win in Seattle, which I think is still possible. But I don't feel necessarily great. So I want to hear from you. How are you feeling going in this game? And also, everybody tells me I'm the crazy one for not thinking that rivalry's still there. Let me hear from you. 610-632-0975, because this is your time. It's Eagles-Cowboys. A December matchup where the Eagles are one game up in the standings. It's like your holiday. Let's go to Brian in Malvern. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Brian.
Nice to meet you. Miss Anthony, but you've been doing a killer job, buddy.
Thank you, Brian. I miss him too. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that. But on the, rivalry question, I'm 45. You're younger, right, Andrew?
Yes.
Yeah. So to me, like, I was a teenager in the Cowboys Super Bowl years.
Right.
So, like, that made sense, right? But for me now, as a 45-year-old and all those years in between, Kincaid said this morning, 28 years since they've been relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the Cowboys, Like, I can't outgrow the hate.
No, of course not. I hate the Cowboys too. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's just, this whole, when we talk Eagles-Cowboys, I feel like the first thing that always comes up is Buddy Ryan.
Yeah, no.
And that's 30 years ago, man.
I hear you, which is why I said to your producer, like, hatred and rivalry could be two different things.
Yes.
In my mind. And so maybe, like, for the next hour and a half, think about that with the callers. Like, I will never not hate the Cowboys, but have I lost sleep over these games? Lately when they haven't meant much, or the Cowboys have had Romo or, Cooper Rush. Like, no, of course not. Like,
but this one does mean something, right? So that's why, like, I'm also asking for the people that think I'm the crazy one that thinks the rivalry's not really there. Like, all right, this is your time, man. This is your time. Like, I can't. And thanks for the call, Brian. Like, I can't sit here and fake. Like, all right, let's beat those Cowboys. I can't fake that. That's not who I am, right? I hate the Cowboys. I was cleaning out the closet the other day. I found the shirt that my dad got me a long time ago that he wore the last time the Eagles played the Cowboys a few weeks ago. The kid wearing the Eagles shirt peeing on the star, right? Like, I have that stuff. I'm all about it. But the rivalry has not been really relevant in like 20 years. But I'm called crazy for saying that, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I just see things differently in life sometimes, it looks like. This is now your time. Like, for those of you who do hate the Cowboys, open floor, man. And I hate the Cowboys, because I hate the Cowboys too. Like that burning rage that you feel when it's Eagles-Cowboys week. The old school way of what we used to do of getting the guests on to the former Cowboy and the former Eagle together to yell at each other. Like, those days are behind us. But you still have every opportunity to call in here and be like, all right, screw Dallas, screw Jerry Jones, screw Dak Prescott, rain, right? Like, all that kind of stuff. Go for it. This is your week to do it. It just sucks that it's coming off of a bad loss against the 49ers, that it's taking until 12:30 on Thursday to really start talking about it. 610-632-0975. By the way, real quick, NFL executive Jeff Miller says it's not true that Roger Goodell is trying to ban the tush push. According to that. Discussions about the play with the competition committee are likely to be discussed further in the offseason, but Goodell does not have a position on it.
All that sounds like to me is that Goodell knows that he's taking a trip to Philadelphia at some point in the postseason and doesn't want to have to deal with the blowback.
Yes, and then he will do it. Then he will do it.
Oh, yeah, he's going to ban it. Yeah, he's anti.
It's ridiculous. All right, let's go to Jonathan in Doylestown. Jonathan, you're on the Fanatic.
All right. What's up, guys?
What's up, John?
I'm not feeling the best about this game, if we're all being honest.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to start off with the wide receiver core. If we're really thinking about it, would you rather take CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Brandon Cooks, or Deebo Samuel or Ayuk? Like, I don't feel good about our defense in the air at all because Brock Purdy barely threw the ball over like 15 yards the whole game. What's his name? Dak Prescott he's just airing that ball out. Like this offense that we're about to play is just going to.
They're on fire right now.
Yeah, they're on fire. I don't see the Eagles even stopping them for more than maybe a drive or two. And I don't even see.
So you think there could be another 6 straight touchdown performance out of the Eagles defense?
We'll definitely get some punts, but like, I'm just trying to say, like, Dak Prescott has had his, I would say, a top 2 season he's ever had. Like, I've never seen, like, I hate the Cowboys, and I hate to say it. If they win this game, Dak Prescott wins MVP.
Well, yeah, that's what Ray just said, and it, obviously you'll have to play out the last 4 weeks. Like if Jalen Hurts goes on a tear and the Eagles end up winning, or if Brock Purdy goes undefeated and goes on a tear, I mean, that's still going to be up for the running. But yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be a tough game this weekend, and unless Shaq Leonard, I mean, look, maybe Shaq Leonard finds resurgence in his career in the middle of the field, doesn't get gashed as much.
I think that, like, the Eagles super fans, of course, we all hate the Cowboys, but we really have to stay open-minded about this because I don't know, it's not looking pretty going into it.
No, it's not. And thanks for the call, Jonathan. And don't feel ashamed for feeling that way. I don't feel great about this game. I also think that, let's say the Niners game happened 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and the Eagles bounced back and beat the Chiefs and Bills the same way. Wasn't pretty, but it was come from behind. Overtime win against the Bills. Maybe we're feeling a little bit different going into this one. But because they lost and lost the way that they did to the San Francisco 49ers, I think that's kind of pulled a dark cloud over the entire city. And that dark cloud is bringing a lot of people down this week. And hopefully we can get over that. All right, we're efforting Herm Edwards. All right, there we go. Joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. The coach does a tremendous job on ESPN. All kinds of great work, college and NFL. The great Herm Edwards. Herm, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. How we hanging in Philly right now?
Well, we're not hanging great. I'll be honest. It's now Thursday. I do this every single day, so I've been talking to Eagles fans, and there hasn't really been that. I mean, you know the deal. Usually around Wednesday, people kind of get over the previous loss and start getting fired up for the next one, especially an Eagles-Cowboys game. But we're at noon on a Thursday, and people are still kind of down in the dumps today, Herm.
Yeah, and I mean that was look, they played a ball team, and when you lose, it's one thing, but the way they lost, I think that's concerning. But I just think going forward, when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they still have an equalizer, and it's number one, Jalen Hurts. You can't say enough about how he's playing and how he's really carried this team the last month. It's just it's a hard deal, and the NFL's a hard deal. And sometimes you get going, you look at the 49ers, they had a 3-game losing streak, and then they found their way. What the Eagles got to do now is get ready for a division game against the Dallas Cowboys, a team that in the fourth quarter was right in the game with them. And you don't want to get on a losing streak now.
No.
Because you got 5 games left. It's a 5-game season. And so San Francisco, Dallas, obviously in Philadelphia are all fighting for that home field advantage, right? And so that's what the Eagles got to look at.
Now, if you go back to last week, Herm, so a lot of the conversation, a lot of the callers, a lot of Eagles fans, a lot of national media members say maybe, and look, Eagles fans, right? So Eagles fans are being real to themselves. They believe the Eagles got exposed against the San Francisco 49ers. They were 10-1, but people were still kind of waiting for that big win, even though they beat the Chiefs and Bills in previous weeks. But they then get beat up the way they did against the 49ers. So were the Eagles exposed in your mind, or was this just – hey, third game in 13 days, and you had 2 gritty wins before that against the Chiefs and Bills, so it's going to happen at some point.
There's a lot that goes into it. The 49ers were able to attack their weakness, and their weakness is inside pass defense.
Oh, yeah.
It's versus their linebackers and their safeties, and everybody's known that all year. 49ers had a way of getting guys on those linebackers, whether it was McCaffrey, Debo. A lot of those plays, when you look at them, they were right over the center. I mean, they were right in the middle of the field. It wasn't so much outside on the perimeter. It was inside. And that's how you got to attack the Eagles. You got to attack their defense that way. And I think everybody that watches football understands that. I mean, I've been saying that since last year. I said, if you get after these dudes, now, when they get a lead, that's different. But the problem is they played a team that when they got a lead, that was the issue. Because the 49ers can run the football. They can flat run it.
Right.
And the problem is, as much as Philadelphia is always in 1st and 8 because of the tush push, the 49ers are good, too, on first down. And if you let them run the ball and dictate the terms, they go on long 11, 12-play drives. They just kind of scar you up. They just kind of beat you methodically. And that's what happened. And then missed tackles. Had a lot of missed tackles. Uncharacteristic of an Eagle football team. But all those things played into it.
So now you turn your attention to the Cowboys game on Sunday. Yeah. And as you can imagine, like I said, when you first came up, people are still down in the dumps. And I don't think there's that same energy, that same juice going to an Eagles-Cowboys game that there usually is, especially this late in the season where you only have a 1-game lead. But if you're in the locker room, right, so you could talk to this as a player, as a former head coach in the NFL. If you're in the locker room, I mean, you got to put what happened the previous week aside and just get geared up for a game like this. It's the one that matters this Sunday.
Oh, if you can't get up for the Cowboys, you no need you putting on the Eagle uniform. I mean, this is the Cowboys. And look, we understand that. I mean, you got to understand. Look, the first thing I realized when I went to Philadelphia as a rookie, okay, I was a Cowboy fan growing up, by the way. I grew up on the West Coast. I was a Cowboy fan. Wanted to go to the Dallas Cowboys. Well, I go to the Philadelphia Eagles. First week of training camp. I found out real early, you know what? There's a lot of teams in this NFC East, but the one that gets everybody's hair standing up on the back of their head is America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. So I think if you're a Philadelphia Eagle, and this is what's hard in today's world because of free agency and all these players don't stay on the same teams as long as they would in the previous years, right? Nothing wrong with that. But you understood that. And I think if you're a Philly fan, you understand we're playing the Cowboys. You better get excited about playing the Cowboys. Look, it's a 4-team tournament right now, in my opinion. It's San Francisco, it's Dallas, it's Philadelphia, and Detroit. Those are the 4 teams. somewhere along the line, you're going to play that team again in the playoffs, right? Because those are the teams right now that really, when you look at the teams, you say those are the teams. Can Philly beat any one of those teams? Absolutely. But you can't play like you did last week.
No, you can't. Now, I'll ask you, how important is it? You mentioned Jalen Hurts, and I know Jalen Hurts only year 3 in his career, but he acts like he's a 10-year vet. How important is it to have a locker room like this where you have a guy like Jalen Hurts, but then you also have the vets? You have Jason Kelsey, who's been here for his entire career. You have Lane Johnson. You have Fletcher Cox. You have Brandon Graham. How important is it in an NFL locker room to have guys like that have gone through these battles, not just Eagles, Cowboys, but gone through the battles to get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl and get back to a Super Bowl? I mean, what does that mean for a locker room to have voices like that?
It's very important because the veterans will tell these guys, don't take winning for granted. Don't think you get to go back every year. You know, that team that we played on was pretty good in Philadelphia. And we went to the Super Bowl. And we just thought, hey, we'll get back next year. Well, we got back in next year in the playoffs in the first round. We were out. So, you have a nucleus of players right now that understand that understand how hard it is to get there. You got some young players that just think, all right, we're on this really great team. We're going to go all the time. Well, wait a minute. It don't work that way. It's difficult in the National Football League. So I just think, when you look at it, there's some concerns, but they got to fix that part. And I think on offense, you look at Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's magnificent. The guy's carried the football team. He is the soul. He is the heart of this team. But they got to help him too some. I think. Look, I'm not trying to coach because I'm not a coach. I'm just a fan. I'm just an observer like everybody else. But I would personally on offense, the big fella, okay, Brown, A.J. Brown, I would put him in the slot more. I would put him in the slot and use him there so he could have the whole field of maneuver on rather than give him a portion of the field because you can cut him off on a portion of the field. But when you put him in the slot, he can go anywhere. In zone, he's matched up against linebackers. He's a big, strong, powerful man that catches the ball with his hands, and he goes north to south when he runs. I would use him a little bit more in there. It's just a little. You give him a 5-yard. Look at San Francisco. They throw five-yard passes.
Right.
Debo caught a 5-yard pass and ran 70 yards on those guys. Brown's the same kind of guy. He's big and strong. Put him inside a little bit. Move him around. Don't always just sit him out there by the numbers. Put him inside. Run him in motion some. Get him the ball. Inside against linebackers and safeties. That's a bad matchup for other opponents. I'm not trying to coach. Coach has done a magnificent job. They got a great football staff there. When I observed the game, just watching it, as a former player, I'd go, boy, he'd be hard to handle inside.
Right.
Because of the matchup problem.
I love it. It sounds like you're still ready to go on the sideline, Coach.
Well, look, I got one hit left.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Now, real quick, you brought up Nick Sirianni. I would love to get your thoughts on Sirianni because I know a lot of people have their mindset on Sirianni that maybe he's too abrasive on the sidelines, too cocky. It's one of those. I'm glad he's our head coach because I probably wouldn't like him if he was the coach of a different team. When you watch Nick Sirianni on the sideline, A, how do you feel about Nick, and B, just as the head coach, like forget the antics. As a head coach, I mean, guy's been pretty successful in his career. What are your thoughts on Sirianni?
Oh, I think he's doing a really good job, especially in Philadelphia. Look, it's hard when you coach one of those teams on the East Coast in Philly, New York. I tell you what, now there's a lot to handle besides just playing football. You know what I'm talking about. There's a lot to handle, and look, he is who he is. He doesn't duck his personality. He doesn't, duck how emotional he is. That's just part of who he is. And you know what? The players respect him. They play for him. He's got the players' attention. The players trust him. And that's what you got to earn as a coach is trust. And these guys won a lot of football games. And he's got a good football team. But, look, there's 3 other teams out there, and that are good too. And San Francisco happens to be one of them, right? They're a good football team. They've been in a lot of playoff, situations. The Dallas Cowboys, they're a team trying to get in the playoffs and get past the first round. Dallas Cowboys got a lot of pressure on them this week too now, guys. Let's don't sugarcoat it. They haven't been too good in big games. That's been their Achilles heel.
I love it, Herm. Listen, man, I love how fired up you are for this game. I mean, how great, let's just be honest, how great is the NFL and how smart are those schedule makers? Because they got a mid-December matchup between the Eagles and Cowboys 1 game apart.
The owners have figured this out. I mean, football is America's game. There's no doubt about it. And if you would say it's a 5-game season now, and think about it this way. If you're a fan of a team that has at least 6 wins, you got a shot. Maybe not to win a division, but you got a shot to get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you can win 9 games, you might be a playoff team. That's exciting for fans.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a division winner in the South with 7.
Oh, no doubt.
Exactly. It's amazing.
It's fun to watch. It really is. It's fun to watch.
Coach, you're the best, man. I always appreciate your time. Been talking to you for years, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and can't wait to talk to you again down the road. Hopefully come in a deep playoff run for the Eagles.
My pleasure. And Philly fans, just keep rooting, and root real hard this week against them Cowboys.
There he is. Herman Edwards. Coach Herm Edwards on the Comcast Business Hotline. Football guy.
Easily.
All
Football
right.
guy, football mind, everything football is that guy.
All right, here's what we're going to do. Coming up next, we'll continue the conversation. The Eagles, Cowboys. Now, I'm not doing the whole, like, do you still hate the Cowboys? I'm just saying the people that hate the Cowboys, the ones that think that I'm the crazy one for saying the rivalry is diminished a little bit over the last, 30 years. This game is like your Christmas, right? This is the Jeff Garcia Merry Christmas Philadelphia game all over again because it means something this late in the season. If the Eagles were to lose, the Cowboys are now tied with them in the NFC East and in the NFC with the overall, 1 seed record. So this game's like your Christmas. So I want to hear from you. Like, I want to hear your Cowboys hate the rest of this show and all of tomorrow. We don't have any more guests today. We have no more planned segments the rest of the day. It's your calls at 610-632-0975. But also on the game itself, how you feeling about it? Because I'm not feeling all that great. But if Herm Edwards if I was sitting next to him, I think I'd feel better. Like, I'm already kind of rejuvenated a little bit after having Herm Edwards on. We're going to play something the rest of the show as well. Football guy or not. And there's a reason why I asked this question. Because there is a game tonight that could be the biggest waste of your time ever in football. But if you're a football guy, you're watching it. So we might even expose some of ourselves. Football guy or not. Start that next right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
And 50 piece for Embiid. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Corona. Join Corona, Andrew Salchunas, Pat Egan, and Bob Cooney for the Fanatic pregame show this Sunday, December 10th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Marie's Cozy Corner in Fairless Hills. Sponsored by Corona. Visit 975thefanatic.com for details. Ron Embiid scored 50 points, leading the 76ers to a 131-126 win over the Wizards. For Embiid, he had 12 rebounds and 7 assists to his 50 points, the 6th 50-point game of his career. Kelly Oubre returned to action and scored 8 of his 12 points in that pivotal fourth quarter. The win snaps a 2-game losing skid for the 76ers. They'll be back at home against the Hawks on Friday. Eagles and Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. The Eagles looking to win at Dallas for the first time since 2017. Looking for the first sweep of Dallas since 2011. Tight end Dallas Goedert was a full participant in practice on Wednesday. Both Derek
Tyrone and Jen and Ricky during the commercial break, out and about. Real quick, Phillies note that I wanted to get to at some point today. And then we'll get back to the phones about this Eagles-Cowboys game, how you feeling about the game. This is the game for a lot of you. You know, screw you, Andrew. Eagles-Cowboys does mean something still. Well, yeah, this week it does. So let's talk about it. But Rob Thompson spoke to the media yesterday. Ray.
Upper.
And he was asked about the leadoff position.
Oh.
Which, of course, was a contentious conversation all of last year. And he talked about Kyle Schwarber, obviously. Did you hear this?
No,
hear the
I didn't.
clip? Oh, okay.
I didn't hear the clip.
He talked about Kyle Schwarber. But he said, you know, we would like Kyle in the middle of the lineup. Yeah. It makes sense. You have, you know, guys on base, top of the order, and he could maybe hit home runs. Because he hits home runs in other spots of the order, too, not just leadoff. But I know I sound like a caveman when I talk about it. But do you want to guess the name that he said he would want in the leadoff spot that they're looking at? It's not the, you know, it's nothing's finalized. It's December 7th.
I do look at your show sheet in preparation for the show.
All right. So yeah, Bryson Stott. So not even Trey Turner. We've talked about the ideas of Bryce Harper. Bryson Stott as the leadoff hitter. And then, of course, Kyle Schwarber would drop somewhere in the middle of the order because you'd have Trey Turner second. And then the question is, you know, I like the best hitter bats third, so Harper would bat third, and then Schwarber would be fourth or fifth. I'm glad that the manager's thinking about this kind of stuff in December, and we'll see what actually happens come opening day. But a quick little Phillies update because the winter meetings are going on.
Yeah, I'm looking. Here we go. I'm trying to find audio for you from Rob Thompson from last year. Give me 2 seconds because I think you might come to regret finding any optimism in what you hear in December.
Yeah, we just win games with Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff spot. He's my leadoff hitter. Yeah, I know all about it. All right,
here you go.
All right, what we got?
Yeah, we got last year on February 17th.
Okay.
So here you go.
Where would you like to see Trey back for your ball club?
Well, you know, it all depends when Harp gets back. But before Harp gets back, I think we're probably going to have him in the leadoff spot because he's high on base, high slug too, but high on base, and we need that. It gives you more of a chance to have somebody on base when Schwarber gets up, and Hoskins and JT. So I think that's probably where we're leaning right now.
Well, we just have to hope that Bryson Stott doesn't suck. Because remember, Trey Turner sucked until he got his standing ovation, and he went on a tear and then, you know, decided to disappear in the NLCS, but we don't talk about it because we gave him a standing ovation. Bryson Stott just needs to not stink in the leadoff spot.
Okay. I'll believe it when I see it.
All right, let's go back to the phones, and then I want to bring up this football guy or nothing. Let's go to Tom in Alabama. What's up, Tom? This is a football guy right here.
Hey, big man. How the hell are you?
What's up, man? How the hell are you?
Fine. Ray, how are you, friend?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Fine, thank you. The deal is Dallas sucks, okay? The deal, I don't care when it is. I don't care what it means. It always means something, and it sure as hell is going to mean a hell of a lot come Sunday night. You know, I don't feel that great about it either, but I'm too old to run, so I'm not going to back down from a fight either way. And I could tell you about from when I was born, 1967 and 1972, they won 11 straight games. 1987, they crossed the picket line. Randy White, Too Tall Jones, Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, all four Hall of Famers. Well, where I grew up on the corner of 10th and Snyder Avenue, you might best bet think before you cross a picket line, Jack. The Bounty Bowl, 10 years ago, Sam Bradford in overtime for the division. I don't care what. We need to bring some heat, and we need to run the damn ball and establish it because they're going to come out running the ball down our throats.
I don't know if they're going to run the ball down our throats. Dak Prescott might throw 40, 50 times. Okay, like with CeeDee Lamb. But I love all the passion. I absolutely love the passion, Tom. Screw the Cowboys.
I think it's going to go into overtime. I think this game's going to be that tight. But, you know, being serious, I mean, they've won 14 straight there. We haven't won since 2017. It's going to take a Hercules Herculean effort, excuse me. But, man, it's time to get up because we just got our asses kicked, and we got our asses kicked good in South Philadelphia. And I don't like getting my ass kicked, let alone in South Philadelphia where I was born and raised. We need to, Sirianni, if you could hear me, brother, you need to go tell them something or do something or draw something on the damn chalkboard because you're of Italian descent just like myself. Let's take care of business and be done with them.
Damn right, Tom. There he is, Tom from Alabama. Use that chalkboard, Nick. They still use chalkboards? Anywhere. I mean, anywhere are chalkboards still used.
Probably schools that didn't replace them with the whiteboard or the... Yeah, I think that's still a school thing, right?
I don't know the last time I saw a chalkboard.
I mean, I imagine schools still have them.
I'm trying to remember if any of my Temple classrooms had them. Because some of the buildings are old, but I don't remember chalkboards. You know what? I think there was one in Annenberg.
I'm thinking it probably like public school system, probably still chock filled with chalk.
I just haven't seen a chalkboard in a while. I've seen the chalk wall. My parents, they painted one of their walls with the chalk paint.
Ah,
so
nice.
They write their grocery lists on there sometimes.
Yeah, I'm more of a dry erase board type of guy. More my style.
I don't think the Eagles have a chalkboard.
No, I don't think so either. I think they're not wheeling in the chalkboard.
No. I think they have projector screens. Right, they have the cool projector screen from elementary school, but probably like millions of dollars worth.
Yeah. They
I don't think they have the chalkboard. Now, he talked about the outside noise. So Sean Bradley took to Twitter. Temple made, Temple proud. Unfortunately, out for the season, as we know. He got hurt in the preseason. He was responding to Kendall Beck. Kendall Beck does a lot of Eagles content on the socials. And he put out this tweet about like the national media, dismissing the Eagles and all this kind of stuff. To which Sean Bradley quote tweeted it and said, "Bro, honestly, we don't give a F about the media's opinion. That's the best part. We got our ass beat last week, and despite all the nonsense that's being said this week, we don't give two Fs, three if you ask us tomorrow. We just put our head down, get ready to show up Sunday." I love that. I love that out of Sean Bradley. Football guy.
Oh, 100% football guy. Great dude. Though I do think the constantly talking about how much you don't care about something
shows that you care.
A little bit of.
Well, unless he's been quiet. I don't know. Do you have his notifications?
I don't. There might have been a time. I'll be honest. There might have been a time.
All right. So I bring up the football guy thing real quick. Herm Edwards, we had him on last segment. Stone football guy. Says now at the end of sentences, gets fired up. He has a game plan for AJ Brown. Put him in the slot. Like, I'm not trying to coach, but like he's a football guy. Herm Edwards is. So I want to play a game the final hour or not. A, give me a football guy or give me a non-football guy, but also let us know if you yourself are a football guy. Because I'm exposing myself right now. I am not. I lose my status today.
Casual.
I lose my status as football guy today. And here's the reason why. Football guys, the real true football guys. Now, I've already kind of been wishy-washy because I'm anti-watching preseason football. I think the Hall of Fame game is like, why are you wasting your time?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you lost your status today.
I remember, me and Anthony would talk about the Hall of Fame game, and then there would be people that would call in, I'm going to watch all four quarters. Bull.
You're not.
I would rather curse. I'd rather the FCC I want to say bull, you know what? Because there's no freaking way you're watching all four quarters of the NFL preseason Hall of Fame game. Stop that. It's ridiculous. Oh, I just love watching the helmets. No, you don't. You like watching good football. Tonight, we'll test everybody's true football guy status. Because tonight, Thursday Night Football, may be one of the worst games we'll ever get a chance to watch. The Patriots are in Pittsburgh taking on the Steelers. The over-under in this game is 30.5. 30.5, dude. The Patriots, are we still with Zappe? Are they running it back with Bailey Zappe? I guess.
Lord knows. I haven't even given a look. And then the
Steelers have Mitch Trubisky as a starting quarterback. You want to talk about run the football, run the ball? This is actually a lot of Eagles fans' favorite game, I think.
Good hard-hitting defense.
This is a run the ball game. I think, isn't Ramondre Stevenson hurt? So, like, Zeke is now the lead back for the Patriots. This may be one of the more ugliest games of the past decade. Not just ugliest game, like after it happened, we talk about how ugly the game is. I'm saying in terms of what's being said about the game leading up to it and it actually coming to fruition, this might end up being the worst game of the past decade. Are you watching tonight, Ray?
Yeah, probably.
You're a football guy. I'm not.
But the thing is, like, I'll put the caveat on it. Like, this is if I find something better to do with my time type of game.
You know, you know, you'll have find something better to with your time. Stare at a wall.
No. See,
stare at a wall.
That's where you lose me.
Stare at a wall for 3 hours. You're doing something better than wasting your time watching Patriots.
Think about the number of jokes that I'll be able to come up with watching this football
if you stare at the wall, you're not going to get the blue light looking at the TV.
I'm already absolutely screwed when it comes to.
It's probably better for your mental health because you could think.
I mean, there's a lot of things that'd be better for my mental health. I think I'll stick to watching football. I think I'll be good with this one tonight. I mean, listen.
Are you watching was Demario Douglas? Everybody's all fired up about.
I just want to see Trubisky out there, man. We haven't seen the guy in a while.
No, you don't. You don't want to see Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky, can Belichick's defense keep this up? It's impressive the fact they're losing this way. They don't allow any points and they continue to lose.
So I'm on the FanDuel app. Well, I'm on the computer, the website, and you know how they put the popular SGPs like when you click on the game. So here's a Steelers same game parlay.
Okay.
All over in receiving yards for 4 guys. Guess the over under for Deontay Johnson.
42.5.
43.5. That's pretty damn close. Pat Freiermuth, the tight end.
Let's go 29.5.
27.5.
Oh.
You're spot on though. What about George Pickens?
All right, maybe a little more optimism there for Pickens. Let's go 45.5.
40.5.
Oh,
they're actually less than Deontay Johnson. And then Jalen Warren.
Let's go 16.5.
16.5, spot on.
Oh, wow, look at me.
You're impressive.
Yeah, man, maybe I'm in the wrong profession. I can set some lines.
That's what we got going for us. Is your over-unders of receivers of around 40.
Let me really sell this game to you. This is one of the 5 last times you'll be able to see Bill Belichick in the Patriots hoodie.
It doesn't mean nothing.
Come on. Nobody loves a good downfall story like us. I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch the frustration on the sideline. I'm going to watch the slow demise of a once great empire.
All right. You enjoy yourself.
And it's going to be good. Unless I find better plans.
I'm going to watch my grass not grow because it's wintertime. But I'm still going to stare at the grass for 3 hours.
See, now what you got to tell me, this is a night, and this would be big for Christy, where she's got to be able to, this is like the look-ahead schedule. Like, I know you mentioned that she's done pretty good paying attention to the schedule.
She's great at it.
Yeah, this is
it's ridiculous, actually.
This is a good look-ahead spot for her. She probably should have circled this one on the calendar. If there's something she wants you to do, something that...
Today's the day?
Yeah, tonight's the night to do it.
I'm not a football guy, apparently. Let's go to Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank, you a football guy?
Damn straight, I'm a football guy.
You're watching Steelers Patriots tonight?
Yeah, off and on. Well,
yeah, just stop. Don't say off and on. You're not watching, period.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I have a game at 8 o'clock. I got a damn basketball game.
I saw the shot.
Oh!
You sent me the video.
And that
your 7-year-old granddaughter Delaney dropping buckets. Yeah. It was nice form taught by Granddad.
Steph Curry my ass. Yeah, man. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Happy Thursday to all. You know what? I'm going to sidebar just a little bit.
Okay.
Stay with me. Mm-hmm. Finish this sentence, Andrew. Bailey Zappi should get zapped. All right, never mind. You know what I would enjoy talking about?
You're losing points.
Here we go. It's a little. Speaking of a football guy, I'd love to sit on a bar stool next to Alabama Tom. He would be entertaining.
Oh, he would, for sure. 100% entertaining. My man's lived a life.
Anyway, Andrew, before I go on one more. What is it about your show that attracts all the potheads in the tri-state area?
Because I'm a fellow.
I guess.
I mean, let's be honest.
Who was that guy? Yeah, Nero the other day. Who was it yesterday? Wheezy? What was?
Oh, the Weave.
No.
The Weave. Yeah, that's the Weave.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Weave, man.
So
that's my guy.
Here we go. Oh man, you were chapping my ass last week, right? Saying that the Niners Eagles have a bigger rivalry than the Cowboys.
At this current moment, yes.
No. The Cowboys are a division. Look,
dude, it's Thursday, and I've heard like 2 Cowboys calls. Thursday.
Well,
all last week, everybody's fired up. Screw the Niners, blah, blah, blah.
I can only speak for Uncle. I can't believe I went first. Strike that. So, no, they're in our division. As long as they're decent, no one will eclipse that rivalry. Now, moving forward, I'm of the mind that the Eagles may lose Sunday, but they're going to win out, and we'll be in first place. You know, Dallas is tough at home, those bastards. But I will never lose my hatred towards the Cowboys. Ever.
Well, I'm not asking you to, whether or not you've lost your hatred, but like I'm saying, like this is the way I need you Eagles fans who are, you have the Cowboys logo in your toilet to pee on it, like the people that hate the Cowboys that much. Like this is your time. Step up because the Eagles only have a 1-game lead ahead of them, and you're going into their house this Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I'm just being a realist. But anyway, all good. Thank you, boys.
See you later, Uncle Frank. I mean, I don't think he really even got anything across there. All I'm saying, I'm not saying don't hate the I hate the Cowboys. The rivalry's not been the same, and I'm the crazy one for saying it. So this weekend is your time. This is your time. This is your time, man. It's Eagles-Cowboys. The winner of this game pretty much wins the division. That's not true, because if the Cowboys, John Kincaid called Josh and gave him the whole breakdown, that if the Cowboys were to win on Sunday, the Eagles could still win if. And all that's true. But if the Eagles win this weekend, I would say division over. Next step is let's take an eye, keep an eye on the conference. If you win this weekend. If you don't win this weekend, the conversation it changes. Everything changes. Our outlook on this team changes completely if they lose this weekend. So the 2 things that we got going on, we got our final segment coming up at 610-632-0975. A, how are you feeling about this game? Just open-ended. We'll do more X and O tomorrow, but just like your gut feeling right now going to this game, my gut feeling is not great. I think the Eagles win one of the next 2 games. Right now, I don't feel great about this upcoming weekend, okay? I'm being completely honest with you. I think I've picked the Eagles to lose 2 games this year. One was the Dolphins. I thought they were going to lose that game. And I forget what the other one was. It was one of these gauntlet games. Well, I thought they would go 4-2 in the gauntlet. So, clearly I thought they would lose another game. Right now, I don't feel great about Sunday, if I'm being totally honest with you. But for those of you who have that hatred, piss and vinegar toward the Cowboys, this is your time, man. I need to hear all about it. Because the rivalry could be renewed this weekend. 610-632-0975. I'm Andrew Salchunas. Football guy or not, we still have to do. David Carr, we talked about this yesterday. I said automatic football guy status if you play in the NFL. I don't think David Carr, watches football, period. There's no way in hell he's watching tonight.
Yeah, not a football guy.
David Carr will not watch Steelers-Patriots, and he does the show tomorrow, like he does the NFL Total Access 5 days a week. He'll probably just get notes going into tomorrow.
He's not a football guy. One, because he wouldn't have watched his own games. We did the whole Uncle Rico thing yesterday, where he thinks if he was in the situation that Hurts has, he thinks he'd be good. If he was presented a quarterback like himself, he would not consume that quarterback's games. He wouldn't watch it. So one, not a football guy for that. Not a football guy because he doesn't have the undying passion for it. Just doesn't seem like it. Okay. Doesn't seem like he's going back for it. And also the way that he does the whole my brother's going to win MVP just about every year. And I think a football guy at some point would actually challenge their sibling to go out there and do something instead of just stumping for them for no reason. So for those 3 reasons, not a football guy to me.
Okay,
not in the slightest.
Now speaking of David Carr. If you played fullback in the NFL, you're a football guy.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Like Kyle Juszczyk, I'm sorry, football guy.
100%.
Right, Mike Allstott, football guy.
Well, especially because he's keeping the position going. Like,
yeah.
that's
then he's
ultimate
the epitome,
football guy, yeah.
How about Vontae Leach?
Probably go football guy. And
Vontae Leach played fullback for the Packers, Texans, and Ravens. Did you see what Vontae Leach said on social media yesterday?
No, I didn't. That's why I was cautious on my football guy naming.
He responded to the David Carr video. Hey, Carr, you're the quarterback who did not know plays when I played with you for the Texans.
Football guy.
Short memory, huh?
Football
One of
guy.
his former teammates taking shots at David Carr, defending Jalen Hurts. Vontae Leach, not only football guy, but honorary Philadelphian.
We'll get into his DMs. We'll see if he could show up tomorrow for the show.
I would appreciate it. He's an honorary Philadelphian after that. 610-632-0975. We got one segment left right here. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, I am so excited for this. I believe I said, tune in for porn for your ears. Well, guys, you ready to hit a home run with the best Christmas gift for your special someone? Then you got to trust me. Pajamagrams, famous naturally nude pajamas will make you a holiday hero. So good. Well, they sell out every single year. Okay, like these things literally do sell out every single year. Naturally nude pajamas are known for ultimate comfort and style. Soft, silky, better than lingerie with a curved, caressing fit. I got to control myself. Chrissy's got a pair. Just saying. I got to be careful. Coop's going to have a sibling. Here's the kicker. When you order a naturally nude pajamas today, you'll get a free naturally nude nightie. So that's a $75 savings on a luxurious 2-in-1 complete gift. Better yet, with Pajamagram, you can even add gift packaging. And if you ask me, that's one easy holiday gift that is sure to make her happy. And fellas, I'm just telling you right now, she's not going to be the only one that's happy. All right, when you see her walking down the stairs or you go to bed, right? Rubs lotion on the skin, right? She's getting ready for nighttime, make the skin all soft. Well, the natural nudies will too. Listen, we all know how good it feels to win, so why not win this Christmas? Hurry! Go to Pajamagram today for naturally nude pajamas before they sell out. That's naturally nude pajamas at pajamagram.com. Tell them Andrew sent you, pajamagram.com. Hurry before they sell out.
Fanatic Sports.
Good luck doing your update, Ray.
I don't know how to follow that. I'm Ray Dunn, and this update is brought to you by PJ Willihan's Holiday Gift Cards. Give a gift everyone loves and get $10 bonus card back for yourself when you give a $50 card. Go to pjspub.com. Joel Embiid scored 50 points, leading the 76ers to a 131-126 win over the Wizards. For Embiid, he had 12 rebounds and 7 assists to his 50 points, the sixth 50-point game of his career. Kelly Oubre returned to action and scored 8 of his 12 points in the pivotal fourth quarter. The win snaps a 2-game
121, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. It's the Midday Show. Football guy or not, because tonight, if you watch tonight's game between the Patriots and Steelers, I'll give you forever football guy status. I don't think I entirely lose it. I just lose it for now.
How much of the game?
All of it.
Okay.
On,
I'm not above falling asleep.
Football guys don't watch like a quarter.
I'm not above falling asleep during this game.
Come on, man. You got to pound beers and watch the game.
Oh, now I have to pound beers while I'm watching the game. It's not enough that I'm subjecting myself to Bailey Zappi and Mitch Trubisky. I have to pound beers while I'm doing it too.
Might help.
Probably make it funnier.
Our man Sean from Pine Hill checks in. I love this game as garbage. The money line for Al Michaels falling asleep at halftime is minus 585. Wow. That's big money you got to put up. I thought Thursday Night Football were supposed to be good games. They've been horrible. Yeah, let's go back to Thursday night's schedule. Remember there was a couple of years it was really good. We talked about it. Didn't we debate this earlier in the year? Because I remember there was a stretch of years where Thursday Night Football was really good. Or maybe it might have been Connor. I don't know. But
probably it was Connor because I'm anti-Thursday Night Football product in general.
Well, I was pro when the games were actually good. Well, let's see. This year, Lions-Chiefs was a good game. Eagles-Vikings. They won. The Eagles won. So
yeah, good game. Great game.
Niners-Giants.
Not so much.
So now you have to take into account, all right, they have the New York market. But, did anybody think the Giants were actually going to be good this year? You thought they were going to be good?
I didn't think good as in Super Bowl contender, but I didn't think they were going to be
I thought
laughably bad.
Step back.
I didn't think it was going to be laughably bad. I didn't think Tommy DeVito slinging the pigskin bad.
Well, no, even if Daniel Jones was playing, I think they'd still be where they're at. He's terrible.
Well, no, I mean, but this is they've gotten a comical piece.
Yes.
I didn't think they'd be 10, 11 wins, but I thought they'd probably be somewhere near 500.
I thought they would be step back year.
Yeah, well, this has been like a leap backwards.
Week 4 was Lions-Packers. You know, everybody was high on the Lions. Jordan Love, fine market game. Bears-Commanders was awful. The score was 40-20, but who thought the Bears and Commanders would be good teams this year?
Well, I mean, there's people that picked the Bears to win the North.
Connor Thomas.
Oh, dude, come on. I wasn't going to do that to him.
Yeah. Chiefs-Broncos, Jags-Saints. That's a weird Thursday night matchup.
I mean, those two people picked to win their division.
That's a good point. A good point. Bills and Bucks was week 8. Titans-Steelers was week 9. Panthers-Bears. 2 Bears Thursday night games.
That's a lot of banking on Justin Fields.
Yeah. Bengals-Ravens, that's fine. That's a good idea to do. Then it was Thanksgiving. And then last week was Cowboys-Seahawks, which I guess was okay.
But yeah, technically, yeah. So I was looking at the Prime Video schedule because they had the Black Friday.
Oh, that's
so they had the Dolphins-Jets. So they kind of, I mean, you playing with fire, being the Thursday night, partner here.
Yeah, because it's a short week. You know how hard it is to play on a short week.
Right.
The games might not be good, but at least give good matchups. Their matchups aren't even.
Well, that's
really
what I mean. The flexibility for games is non-existent. That's more what I'm saying when you're playing with fire. So you schedule 2 Justin Fields games, you got to hope that he takes the leap. You schedule a Jets game, you have to hope that Aaron Rodgers is, upright and able to play.
Yeah, which that wasn't the case.
No, not the case. He's not coming back.
He's not coming back.
Okay.
It's not worth it.
Oh,
it's not worth it.
What do you mean it's not worth it?
They're not.
Every game
close
is
enough in the playoffs.
No, every game, man. Oh, come on.
1 o'clock hour brought to us by Ferguson HVAC Line Conklin. Attention HVAC contractors for equipment parts and supplies for a heating and cooling job. Visit one of Ferguson's counter locations in Ben Salem, King of Prussia, Pawtucket, or Westchester today. How are you feeling going into Sunday's game? It's an open-ended kind of conversation, and for you diehard Cowboy haters, you live for these 2 games every single year. This is your time, man, because this one's a big one. Let's go to Bill in Glen Olden. Bill, you're on the Fanatic. Hello, Bill. Bill.
Hey guys,
what's up, Bill?
Hey, I'm sorry about that. I've been waiting a little bit. Hey, I hate to say this, but my faith in the Eagles is kind of dwindling after a 42-19 loss.
Okay.
But I'm thinking of the Coyote finally killing the Roadrunner. Okay. I think there was one cartoon where that actually happened, and I'm looking at Dallas as the Coyote. And I think this might be their time. I don't know, but I'm thinking of it because right now I'm like, I don't know if they can actually do it. Dallas, Philly has to show me something. I'm looking at the stats for the O-line, and they played a great game, and they still got killed.
Yeah, they got destroyed. Part of it was driving down the field in the first quarter and only getting 2 field goals out of it. Exactly. And then a lot of 3-and-outs after that, and then the 49ers were just putting it on the table with 6 straight touchdown drives. No, it was a terrible game. So you're down. Like, you're down after that 49ers game, which so am I. Like, I don't blame anybody for being down, but you don't believe in the bounce-back spot this weekend?
I'm hoping for it, but I need to see it. They need to show me. Because all year, I watched Washington twice. They played Washington twice, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, well, what's going on? They win. They were 10-1, but I don't know.
Yeah, Bill, I appreciate the call, man. I think jot this down, right, as a conversation piece for tomorrow. What do you need to see this weekend? Because Bill's doing the whole, I hope they bounce back. Of course. We all hope they bounce back. We all want them to win out and get to the Super Bowl, right? But they need to show something now, because here's the deal. If the Eagles were to blow out the Cowboys, I think that would make a lot of people feel better, because they're not playing the Giants this weekend. Like, if, let's say, Game 1 against the Giants was this Sunday and the Eagles blew out the Giants, I don't think many people would really get up for that. They wouldn't care as much. They'd be like, all right, like, I'm glad they bounced back and beat up on their opponent the following week, but it's the Giants. It's Tommy DeVito. If you beat up on the Cowboys, that's a statement bounce back win. On the road against a team that's one game behind you in the division, a team that's putting up 40 points every single week. They've not scored under 30 points at home this year. So that would be a true statement by the Eagles. But if they end up losing, man, I don't know. I think people are going to really spiral out of control, because then you win the next 3 games, or then you win those 2 Giants games and the Cardinals games. Is that going to solve anything for people? Is that going to make people feel better?
No, we've already hit the spiral point. This will just confirm it for people.
No, I don't think we've hit it yet. No, I know people are losing their minds right now, but like, if they win on Sunday, people are back. If they lose, that's when it's official. Like, Monday's going to suck.
Well, yeah, Monday's going to suck. Like, but I think the spiral point for a lot of people, like, they beat the Cowboys, there will be a segment of the fan base that does the whole, well, it's a good win, but have you proven that you could beat the 49ers? Like, you're against the invisible enemy for some people.
Well,
because those are the same people that at 10-1 were, I don't.
That game was still circled.
Fraudulent 10-1. So I think there's some people that this is already the spiral point. I'll be honest.
Was it yesterday or was it Tuesday that I said they're going to quickly become the Sixers with the second round? The Eagles. Now that they lost the 49ers. I said it earlier this week. Because if the Eagles, nothing will matter until they play the 49ers again in the playoffs.
Yeah, for some people, I do think that's going to be.
Yeah.
Which is the tough part about this weekend, because when we do and I'll keep this as the talking point for the talking point, but what do you need to see this weekend? Like, I don't, short of a W, I don't know if there's anything that could do it for me. Like, I just need the W. Like, some people, I heard John Kincaid this morning. He's saying, if they play a close game, they end up losing, I'll feel back. I'll feel fine. I'll feel ready to go.
No,
to me, it's not about, I think I know what I know about this team. Like, it's about getting in the positioning that puts you at best for a playoff run. It's not so much, I need to go out. Like I told you, the next gear conversation for me is pretty much dead. Like, I don't have a thought process. This is the second time you're seeing Dallas. So, we've already seen how you match up with them the first time.
Right.
If there would be a third time, I don't think there's a next gear I find in the way they play this game on Sunday. I don't think I come back in here rejuvenated with there's something else to this team. I think I come in here, okay, this team's still very good.
Right. They're still a good football team.
But now they're in better position for what I want postseason. That's what the win would do for me. Like, it's It's not so much I can't get caught in the style points on either side.
And oh, by the way, the 1 seed is still important because David Carr said it back-to-back days. Home field advantage doesn't matter.
But it does.
But 1 seed also gives you the first-round bye, which helps your players get healthy, to which he was pushing. Let's go to John in Philly. John, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
What's up, John?
What's going on? Man, so much to say. I'll be as quick as possible. First thing on the game, and you mentioned a little bit ago why Eagles fans aren't calling in. I'm a Cowboys fan from Dallas. We can get into that if you want, but I gotta say, man, I think Eagles fans know what this team is, and what I mean by that is just very inconsistent. Where normally you're like the boisterous fan base that's like loud and have a lot of confidence behind your team. And there's nothing that calms a bully down more than kind of getting punched in the mouth. And I think that's why people aren't as excited about this game, because you've seen the way, the Eagles have played all year, eking out wins against, let's face it, not great teams. And then to get beat by a good team like that, I think kind of brought everyone back down.
Well, now what about your squad?
Hey, listen. Here's the thing. I am terrified of this game because this is a game that Dallas loses 9 times out of 10, and it's a game the Eagles win. It feels like 9 times out of 10. I'm not, but I have my own problems with my own team.
Right. I was just gonna say, when you're saying the whole once you played a good team, you lost. I was like, well, what happened the last time we played? What happened to the 49ers game where you lost 42-10? But that's the thing. Are you saying that about your squad? The Eagles lost 42-19. Are you saying that about your squad after losing to the Niners 42-10 back in October?
Yeah, what I'm saying about my team when we lost that way is here we go again. Like good team on paper, offense, defense. Blowing teams out and then face one good team and they don't get it done. That's the Cowboys. They're just notorious for not getting it done. It's funny. I always compare them to the Sixers. Great regular seasons, fail in the playoffs every single year.
Yeah, that's been a message during the Sixers offseason. Thanks for the call, John. I hope your team loses on Sunday. That was the message from a lot of Sixers fans, that they're turning into the Dallas Cowboys, which was like the grossest thing to say. But it's kind of true. Now, I don't want to believe that people always felt a certain type of way about this squad, and that the loss on Sunday solidified their thoughts. Like, I don't want to believe that. I know we talked about it. We have talked about it for weeks. I've been asking Eagles fans to admit that they have doubt in the back of their minds, but people stay quiet because you're 8-1, you're 9-1, you're 10-1. Like, you would sound crazy for being nervous or critical or not confident or whatever. You can be critical all you want, but in terms of the lack of confidence. And then they get beat up by the 49ers, and now all of a sudden this team got exposed. Our first caller Monday morning, Eagles got exposed. That was our first caller. I just hope that's not the case. I hope people get up for this game.
Oh, I don't think it's going to be a case of not getting up for this game. I think people are going to get up for this game. But instead of the, unbothered, internally optimistic, we're going to go out there, we're going to beat them. It's getting up for them. It's the anxious, excitement.
Yeah, for the first time all season, there's butterflies. Scared, I would say nervous butterflies. Yeah. Nervous energy.
Yeah, be nervous energy.
Eagles, Niners was, let's go to war. This one's nervous energy. Let's go to my man Tasty Cake Dom. What's up, Dommy?
Andrew, hey, Ray.
How you doing?
Andrew, man, Herm Edwards is a great guy.
He's awesome, isn't he?
He gets you fired up.
I was ready to start playing.
That's awesome. And then I wanted to tell you that, with the San Francisco game and it's Dallas week and everything like that, I was real proud of you. You gave the big man some love because, man, he was unbelievable.
Oh, of course.
He was.
I mean, and that's why I love the silence. The Joel Embiid haters were quiet today. 50 points, almost had a triple-double. Come on, man.
And as impressive as that is, Andrew, you know what? I said it last night. Last night is his eighth straight, 30, 10, and 5 assists.
Oh, my God, it's awesome. I didn't realize that. It's incredible.
That's unbelievable.
And people go, oh, dude, let me see him in the playoffs. We're watching one of the best players of the decade every single night, and a lot of people don't cherish it and they disrespect him. It's crazy.
But I hope that Darryl can figure something out because, if you real quick, right off the top of your head, right, Andrew, right, if you go to the greatest players that never won a championship,
Charles.
we got two of the top five.
Charles and Allen.
We got AI and Barkley,
yeah.
And then I would go Ewing and Dominique and Karl Malone. But we got two of the top five greatest players ever not to win. I don't want to put a third one on that thing. They got to figure it out. They got to figure, as great as Joel Embiid is, you got to figure out a way to get him a ring. You got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, he brings it. He gives you the opportunity to win. You just got to get the pieces around him. One of the concerning things is Tobias not playing such great basketball of late.
Yeah,
not so great.
But this Nick Nurse, right, Andrew? Real quick, he got 72 points Friday night without Embiid and Maxey, and Furkan Korkmaz played 9 minutes in the first half, and they still scored 72 points in the first half.
Yeah,
the guy can coach.
Yeah, he can. He sure can. I mean, he's been fantastic. That's why the Sixers are one of the better teams in the NBA still.
You and Ray keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you.
You're the man, Dom. Thank you. Love you too. Yeah, Tobias struggling.
What? Tell me he's not an assassin scorer? Tell me that you're wearing a casual for looking for other options?
Look, I'm not even trying to trade him. I'm just saying he's struggling recently. You're the one that's going all that far.
No, I'm just saying. Keep the energy.
I'm just saying he's just,
No, I'm not saying you keep the energy. I'm telling him to keep the energy.
I wish the Sixers traded him for pieces that would make more sense with this roster. They didn't do it. And here we are now. And Daryl Morey's taking selfies in front of Crumble Cookie stores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all.
Insomnia.
No,
that's my choice.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, insomnia over.
Damn right. Let's go to Denzel in West Philly. What's up, Denzel?
Hey, man, what's up?
How you doing?
Hey, good. I just wanted to bring up a few points about the 49ers game because people are saying we got exposed against the 49ers. We didn't get exposed against the 49ers. We got exposed all year on the back end. It's a fact that Sean Desai hasn't fixed the back end of the secondary. That's been happening. Every quarterback we played this year had either their best or their second best game against the Eagles secondary, maybe outside of Tua, which surprisingly I thought they was going to light us up. So it's not like we got exposed on that end. We played 3 games in 13 days. The first half was close. People don't forget the first half was close. We just left for overtime.
14-6.
It was a close game. They didn't even look that good until it started. Like I said, it started to wear on you. They just left an overtime game, emotional overtime win. It's
95 snaps for some of the guys on defense last week, against the Bills.
And we were without our 2 starting linebackers. That's important. N'Kobe Dean or Cunningham didn't play. What was I about to say? Yeah, and I think we're starting to get in tunnel vision. I don't got to beat the 49ers. You don't even know if the 49ers are going to win their first-round matchup. People are looking at them like they're this juggernaut and all of this. Brock Purdy is still Brock Purdy. I wanted Sean Desai to bring the defense up. He didn't throw over our head.
No, he didn't.
And he can't throw overhead. All of his – I just wish that we get and I'm not one of the ones saying fire Sean Desai his first year. He'll learn, but it's giving me flashbacks of the last defensive coordinator,
Jonathan Gannon and Jim Schwartz before that, because it's
all of them.
But it's an organizational philosophy. It's not just Desai. It's that Vic Fangio coaching tree, man.
I grew up watching Dawkins.
I know you did.
And that defense,
but the numbers, analytics, Denzel, everything says we'd rather you keep you in front of us.
It's no scheme on defense. They want us to line. They wanted to keep lining up. Play cover 2, cover 3, cover 1. Just basic vanilla defense. You're not camouflaging nothing. There's no defensive lineman dropping off the line. There's nothing. There's no corner blitz. You've never seen Slay in the backfield. You've never seen Bradbury in the backfield. And you won't, because they won't send a corner blitz. You'll never see a safety in the backfield. They won't send a safety blitz. They don't switch nothing. They sit everything on the back end. Bend but don't break. But it'll kill us if you got somebody like Debo and Kittle who's built for that type of game. He had thrown half his passes came from the backfield. They didn't even break the line of scrimmage.
Absolutely. He had 4 catches for 150 some yards, and 120 of it was
Nothing
after the
went
catch.
over the top. I don't think he threw a pass over 15 yards.
Probably no. I don't think so. I know you're right, Denzel. Listen, I don't disagree with you. I keep on saying thanks for the call. Spot. I'm not even saying the whole game. Spot. You got to have your corners at the line of scrimmage, but sound like a broken record because we said that about Jonathan Gannon. We said that about Jim Schwartz. We said that about freaking Rasul Douglas. Like, think about that. Like, I was having the same exact conversation putting Rasul Douglas up at the line of scrimmage because he was more of a big-bodied guy that he could actually, beat up the wide receiver within those first 5 yards. We can make legal contact. Instead, they'd have him 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, and the speed receiver would blow right past him. Double moves. We know all about the Jalen Mills double moves. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the personnel is. It's been the same organizational philosophy for the last 3 defensive coordinators now. And, I know you grew up in the Jim Johnson. So did I. And it was a lot of fun. Those days are gone. And not just with the Eagles. Those days are gone in the NFL.
Or else you're bringing up Dawkins.
Yeah,
you got Blankenship.
Yeah, you're bringing up talent.
Yeah, like at some point we got to go with the talent. Like, you're talking about the size not doing anything for the back end. They've done enough to mask up the mistakes up until the 49. Like, you're talking tunnel vision. I think there's tunnel vision on the whole Desai comment right there. Like, you bring up Dawkins in the same thing where you're saying Desai's not doing a good job of covering up the back end. Like, no, the back end's just not good enough.
You're not going to fix it. If Darius Slay is nearing the end of his career, which it kind of seems that way the last couple of weeks, and, earlier in the year you had Reed Blankenship and who? Like, who was your other safety? It changed every single week.
And Reed Blankenship being the anchor of that. Like,
I refuse to say the name.
At some point, you got to look at the people over there.
All you guys wanted to go with the Ed Reed Blankenship. Shame on all of you. Shame on all of you. Going with the nickname. Jamie. Shame on all of you. Talking about Ed Reed, man. Ed Reed. Hall of Famer. We're going Ed Reed Blankenship.
And not for nothing, outside of Blankenship, like, we're talking about a Cowboys game. Last time I played the Cowboys, it was Eli Ricks and Sidney Brown in a rotation of guard. But
you're not getting that this week, fortunately.
No, you're
Roby's
not.
Back.
But if you want to start talking about the season and what you've had to deal with in terms of covering up the back end, that's a big part of this conversation.
Right.
Yes. And while we're on the topic of pressure, Brock Purdy, 10 for 11 against the Blitz over the weekend. Pressure wasn't saving you. Pressure wasn't saving you, and the personnel wasn't saving you.
Tackling would have saved you.
Yes.
Which they didn't do.
You got outclassed entirely, and they played into space, and you did not come up and make tackle. I mean, you brought up the Bradley Roby tackle earlier this week that's now been playing on repeat in my head.
That Purdy just running. It just bounced off him.
At some point, you got to be able to get a stop. You got to be able to bring a guy to the ground.
You can't lower your shoulder at Brock Purdy. You got to wrap up. Demetrius and Trenton. What's up, Demetrius?
What's going on, guys?
How you doing?
It's been a long time since I called in.
You're the man.
Hey, everything that you guys are talking about is correct. We have been exposed since week 1 on the back end, but the real deal from that game was we did not match their energy. I mean, they came out and disrespected us when they came out the tunnel. We wasn't up at all.
Somebody tweeted at me earlier saying he thinks the Eagles' identity is soft because they didn't respond to that.
Listen, I'm going to be inclined to agree. People coming out, they're coming to your home turf, they're coming out the tunnel, they're bumping your players. Our players are throwing our hands up in the air like, hey, he pushed me. It should have looked like Miami FSU back in the 90s when they came out in the tunnels when that happened. That was unacceptable to let those guys come over here. And the thing about it is something like that comes from the top. They didn't just round
Well, and that's the thing. So Sirianni was pushing the whole narrative of this is another game, blah, blah, blah. But then before the game, Jay Glazer reported that Sirianni apparently showed a montage, like a video montage of all the crap the Niners spoke after the NFC Championship game. So, it was like mixed messaging. And then I wonder if they were like, all right, let's just handle our business on the field when they walked out of the tunnel. But I hear you. I would chirp back.
Well, that didn't work.
No, not at all.
We didn't handle any business. And then it was like after the whole Greenlaw, Dom situation, like we caught a flame for a second. But we let them
I thought that could have been a moment that the Eagles came back, and then and then it just died.
It just died. I mean, it's like you let Debo come in and catch a bubble screen. He didn't run up the sideline.
He went right down the middle of the field. He ran over the logo.
Exactly.
No, it was bad, dude. That was a terrible game. Thanks for the call, Demetrius. I love how the comment said, people need to calm down. I don't know if he's calmed down yet. That was a bad loss. And now that makes Sunday a major, major, major game. And per Jeff McClain, no Darius Slay at practice. Now, Slay was on the injury report yesterday, did not participate. He was out because of rest.
/knee.
Okay, because he was dealing with a knee injury earlier this year. Also, yesterday, I don't know what the status is today, but yesterday, Julio Jones did not participate. To our caller earlier today that said Julio Jones needed to be involved more as WR3. A, no. B, we'll see if he's even playing on Sunday. All of a sudden, they're getting banged up. All right. As we wrap up the show, two things. One, you have audio from Jordan Phillips. So Jordan Phillips is the defensive tackle of the Buffalo Bills. He's the one that took that blatant cheap shot at Cam Jurgens and then went over to the Eagles fan and started getting in their face. And then it was Shaq Lawson who put a hand on the fan. But Jordan Phillips, Jason Kelsey on his podcast said that it was a cheap shot. Cam Jurgens himself on the John Kincaid show said it was a cheap shot. I agree that it was a cheap shot. Jordan Phillips responded to that and took another cheap shot of his own, this time with Jason Kelsey.
You look at the tush push, he dives at somebody's knees every play and tries to roll him up. So for him to speak on somebody being dirty, I don't think he has any right or any means to call for a fine when he does a whole bunch of stuff like. So I just think that's kind of crazy for him to even mention that. I'm 335 pounds. How am I going to stop regardless? How do I know that the ball wasn't going? After I saw him move, I put my eyes on him, and I'm going to go. Even if they would have got that play off, it's just either them hitting us or us hitting them. Like, you can dish it out, obviously, but you can't take it. So that's just soft. He is a well-respected guy around the league for whatever reason. And now he suddenly has a voice because he's on his brother's podcast and whatnot, so he thinks he can use it. But the way he's using his voice, it doesn't make any sense.
You better watch yourself, Jordan Phillips. He's well respected around the league for whatever reason. Probably because the guy's a future Hall of Famer, dude. You got a long road to travel before you even get into the conversation of Hall of Fame. The guy's a future Hall of Famer, former All-Pro center, was an All-Pro last year. Is respected because of that, respected because of the man who he is. And now you're a whiny little baby. Don't tell him I said that because he kicked my ass. But he's being a whiny little baby. And he's complaining about that. And I still don't know what happened. Was there anything that happened with the Shaq Lawson thing?
No.
They're still claiming personal attacks at family threats?
Yeah, I didn't see anything beyond it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then he did he's on his brother's podcast. So he's going Travis Kelsey, more of the big name on the podcast, and Jason Kelsey's, living off of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting tactic to take, Hall of Famer versus man whose career highlights and awards include second team All Big 12 in 2014.
Yeah.
I wonder who's more well-respected around the league and for what reason.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Like, come on. Let's not pretend like it's for some reason. Like, now he's got a voice because he's on a podcast.
Future Hall of Famer, he's got that respect.
Yeah, okay. So,
now,
relax.
Speaking of his brother, Travis Kelsey, and his fling, that girl. Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Time person of the year.
Yeah, fraud. Did you see the latest quote?
Oh, yeah. No, this was bad. This was bad. This was really bad.
I'm anti-Taylor Swift. I'm done. She's banished from this area. Taylor Swift in the story, because she won Time Person, Magazine Person of the Year. Football is awesome. Turns out, I've been missing out my whole life.
I can't save her from this one.
Hold on a second. Weren't you supposed to be like the big Eagles fan? And, when she did the shows in the link, she was so happy to be at the stadium and which her favorite team plays, the games that she would watch with her dad. Fraud alert, fraud alert, fraud alert. And all you Swifties in the local area. Oh, she's from here. Fraudulent. Sorry. All right, that'll do it for today. I got to run out of here before I get attacked by the mob, the Swifties mob. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Best show ever next right here. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports update.
Embiid drops 50. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Pajamagram. Soft, silky, a best-selling Christmas gift for her. Get a free $75 nightie with naturally nude pajamas from Pajamagram.com. Joel Embiid scored 50 points, leading the 76ers to a 131-126 victory over the Wizards. For Embiid, he added 12 rebounds, 7 assists to his 50 points, the sixth 50-point game of his career. Kelly Oubre returned to action and scored 8 of his 12 points in the fourth quarter. The win snaps a 2-game losing skid for the 76ers. The